Construction has been doing all that and more, shaping and building Edmonton communities for land developers all around Edmonton. That's what All-Star Construction is all about.
Booster Juice is going crazy for hazelnuts.
No, not crazy. Nuts.
Booster Juice is going bananas for hazelnuts.
I mean,
I don't pay about a bottom one then. Move short, keep it going. Move short, keep it going. David gets it back.
Since 1999.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. March Madness is
Ballpark.
If you've been
A
waiting
brilliant stop. Stat season. Another save.
the grand opening of our all-new trips to Vegas. So stop in and see us today. 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. Crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game.
Move short, keep it going. David gets it back.
Mr. Dirk.
Tasting just so right. You can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. Delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle.
For many families, the stress of divorce can throw your life out of balance. The loss of a relationship, ongoing conflict, mounting legal bills, and uncertainty about the future can feel overwhelming. Hi, I'm Corey Anderson with Fairway Divorce Solutions. At Fairway, our team helps you restore balance through mediation, negotiation, and a unique step-by-step process. With 2 offices in Edmonton dedicated to serving your needs, our goal is simple: to help you navigate a path back to peace and clarity. Visit us today at Fairway Divorce.
The Jason Gregor Show.
Stat season. Another save.
On Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Move short and keep it going. David gets it back.
What a wonderful Wednesday afternoon. How are you? And welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, Twitch. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. It's always brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in on the action tonight. $40 million. The gold ball jackpot at Lotto 649. Nobody won the Lotto Max yesterday. So that's up to 75 mil on Friday. Yowzer. PlayAlberta.ca. Actually, no, my apologies. Somebody did win. I need to hit the refresh button. So somebody won it, but nobody won the 40 million tonight at 649. So good luck. It felt like Oiler fans might have won the lottery. You're probably thinking your team was going to lose. Down 4-2, down 4-3, pulled the goalie late. And Leon Draisaitl picks up at that point his 4th point of the night, slides it across to Zach Hyman, ties the game. They go to overtime. Brady Tkachuk decides he's going to steer wrestle Connor McDavid rather than give him a 2-on-1. Probably the right decision when you consider how dangerous McDavid and Draisaitl are on a 2-on-1. But the Oilers get on the power play, and it seemed inevitable. And Evan Bouchard rips home the game winner. Draisaitl picks up his 5th point of the night, and the Oilers move to within 2 points of the Vegas Golden Knights. The Pacific Division, well, it might not be prolific. It's entertaining, and it's tight. First place, Vegas. Second place, Ducks, 1 point back of them. Oilers are 2 points back. Seattle's 3 points back. San Jose is 6 back of the Knights. The Kings still clinging to hopes. They're 8 points back, and they have a game in hand. So the Kings, I think, are on life support when you look at how far they have to go, because they're 5 points out of a playoff spot behind Seattle right now with 22 games to go. And Seattle, pretty decent schedule. Seattle has gained 7 points on the Kings in the last 10 games. And the Kings went 3-6-1. Seattle went 7-3. So you look at it, LA is going to have to go great, and Seattle's going to have to tank. When you have a limited amount of games now, it gets challenging. It's trying to close that gap. So the Oilers, the playoff race is definitely on. They got 20 games left. They're 2 points behind Vegas. Vegas has 1 game in hand. They're 1 point back of the Ducks. The Ducks have 2 games in hand. And it might end up being the Ducks you got to chase. So we'll see how it goes for the Edmonton Oilers. But you know what? Was not the prettiest game last night, but they won. And at this stage of the season, that's all you care about. You want wins. They need wins. And they got to win. And so they'll go from here. Really, Leon Draisaitl played great. Jake Wallman, we're going to get to the Jake Wallman clip here in a sec. Because last night, now I wasn't at the game because the team I coach, we were in the playoffs. So 11 and 12-year-olds are starting a game at 8:15 while the pros are starting the game at 7. Make it make sense, but nonetheless, it's fun time in the playoffs for sure for everybody involved. So hope your team's having success, having some fun. Try not to yell at the refs. Always remember that. I know you're emotional, but a parent, coaches, no freaking out. It's not the best time. Anyway, the Oilers, wasn't their greatest game. And really, Jake Wallman, you look at he had 2 pretty, glaring mistakes that led directly to goals. And Chris Knobloch elected to have him sit in the third period. Now, some people thought maybe he was injured. And he did say he's got something minor that's tweaked, but said he could play and admitted that, well, actually, let's let Jake Wallman tell you when asked about. A
little bit, but regardless, it sucks like not playing. It's want to be a part of that comeback and part of the team, especially being part of the reason why you're down. You want to kind of get back at it, but it's onus is on me. I gotta play better and not put myself in that situation. Like I said, I can play, and just sucks not being able to play. So I think it was other options, but yeah, I put myself in that position. It's my fault. I got to play better.
So there you go. Jake Wallman pulling no punches, got to play better. A little bit banged up, but that's not the reason he was sitting on the bench in the third period. So sometimes coach will send a message to say, hey, I want you to be better. And Jake Wallman, to his credit, didn't shy away, said, hey, I got to be better. He was on the ice today. Bouchard, Ekholm, Nugent Hopkins, Hyman, McDavid, Draisaitl did not skate today. When we asked Chris Knobloch, because in the drills they were doing, you had the defense, had Wallman and Murphy going together quite a bit. And I asked Knobloch, so is that the pair you're going to run with on Friday? And he said, no, they're going to try lots of different combinations here to see who's a fit for Connor Murphy. I still think when all the smoke settles, I won't be shocked if it's Murphy and Nurse. I won't be surprised by that at all. So we'll see where it goes from here. But Connor Murphy, he's going to join us on the show. I had a one-on-one with him. And man, I can tell you first impressions, I can see why the Edmonton Oilers and teammates love Connor Murphy. Like, from first impressions, I can see why they like him. Good sense of humor, well-spoken, knows his role. And so Connor Murphy's a defensive defenseman. So we talked about his career journey and coming to Edmonton. This is going to be the first time he's ever played a playoff game with fans in the NHL, because the only time he made the playoffs was in 2020 in Edmonton in the bubble. No fans. And I think you'll like his answer to that. but more importantly, his answer to his favorite goal. Thick answer. So Connor Murphy's coming up here in hour number 1. We got a loaded show for you today. Aaron Portzline will join us from Columbus. The Blue Jackets back-to-back wins, baby. They're still in the race, which some opposing teams might not like, because it probably means that Boone Jenner and Charlie Coyle and Mason Marchment aren't getting traded. Because I think the Blue Jackets are just going to try to stick with it and get in the playoffs. So we'll talk to Portzline about that. We got Yaremchuk, Ritch Winter, the business of sports. We got Spec. Adam Bingen will join us from Nashville. The Preds looks like they're selling. They already traded McCarron. They already traded Cole Smith. How many more guys could be moved in the next 47 hours? We shall see. We got Cam Tait and more. We'll always get your text, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. But first, we're going to kick it off. Mike Rupp joins us as we get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by Silent Ice Center, located just south of Edmonton, South Edmonton Common, 2 sheets of ice, unbelievable Summit restaurant in between, and it's a great place to watch curling as well as concerts. That's Silent Ice Center. As a former NHLer, analyst for the NHL Network, Mike Rupp joins us. Rupper, how you doing, man?
I am good, Greg. How you doing, bud?
Hey, I'm excellent. Now, Rupper, I know I've been for 2 weeks, I said the Panthers are done, and you're like, you know what? I'm going to wait. Are you on board now? Are the Panthers done?
As painful as it is to say, yes, they are done. They are done. It took me a long time. Listen, I'm not saying I'm the quickest. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I'm loyal. I'm loyal, and the reason why I'm loyal to them is because I just feel like they have earned a different treatment in the way they've been the last couple of years. But yeah, man, coming out of this Olympic break, they needed to win, and they needed to win in regulation for a couple of those games, and more importantly, get their 2 points. And they've just been kind of unable to do that.
So we know they're selling. The Toronto Maple Leafs are sitting out Oliver Ekman-Larsson. They're sitting out Bobby McMahon. They're sitting out Scott Laughton. So put them in the list of sellers as well. I think the Ottawa Senators, maybe last night, that might have been the final nail. They're 6 points out with 22 games to go. They might think there's a chance. I'm not sure how much of a chance there is. We'll see. But let's start with the Panthers. I think Greer is an obvious one to be moved. There's lots of rumblings about Sergei Bobrovsky. Do you think they move Sergei?
I don't. I don't. I don't think that there is a kind of a backup plan. Like this is a team that I think is going to look at it internally this year. As we've played a ton of hockey, we've had a bunch of injuries, bad luck, no gas, whatever you want to say, and I think they want to get right back in the saddle next year. And you need to have a goalie and the right goalie, and Sergei Bobrovsky has been that, where I think Sergei Bobrovsky wants to be there more than anything. So it's just about finding that number. I think he'll end up signing like a 2-year deal or something on those on that wavelength. But who knows? At the end of the day, if you can improve things on your roster by making deals, then you do it. And that leads me to another guy. You mentioned AJ Greer. I love his game. I think he'd be very valuable for some other teams. So that's one that kind of jumps out to me. But Evan Rodriguez is one that is intriguing because I think he's super serviceable up and down your lineup, can play center, can play wing, lines 1 through 4. He's kind of an all situational guy. And I think that there's going to be, it'll fetch a pretty good return. Like, I don't think the team wants to get rid of Evan Rodriguez. I don't think Evan Rodriguez wants to necessarily leave the Florida Panthers, but the business side of it and the way that things are out there as far as the market, like there could be quite a bit here once some other names potentially get moved or are not moved. So that's the one for me. And then internally, I think it just becomes, all right, moving forward is like a player like Samoskevich, able to up his game and fill that void moving forward. But those are the main names for me.
What did you make of the Connor Murphy trade for Edmonton?
I thought it was great. I mean, it's I think that will give them some nice flexibility. I mean, I was listening to you before I came on, and I agree. I think that's the way I think that I would love to see it. At least I think you're going to try any and every pair that you can as far as finding the right chemistry. But if you can get it going with Darnell Nurse, get a little bit more new blood and get a Murphy Nurse pair, Now you've killed two birds with one stone. You've gotten your guy that can play in these situations. He can defend, a right shot, and then get Darnell Nurse's game back up to where we know it can be. That's how you turn things around here defensively pretty quick. So I like it. I thought it was fantastic. I was kind of nervous at maybe some of the other right shot defensemen on the market. I was kind of hoping they weren't going to go after and get. So this is one that I certainly approve.
Yeah. Well, he fills a hole, right? He's a defensive first. And the other thing though, Rupper, and you would know this because you made a living standing in front of the net. He makes it hard for the opposition in front of the order.
He's a little bit nasty. Like he's got a little, like, when I say nasty, like I don't think you think of him. I don't think of Murphy as being like a tough guy, but he has moments where he'll get in those those stick battles in front. He'll lay the cross checks out there. He'll give the whacks. Like he'll be nasty, and I think that's super valuable. So just for the fact of just being a difficult team to get to the net, and look at it from this standpoint. I don't know, and I would assume that the Oilers are kind of done in their goalie searching on the market, and you've got to make it hard to get to your goaltenders until you find out and figure out where Tristan Jarry's game's going to be, where Ingram, like where things are going to kind of play out here in net. The one thing you can do, you can control the environment around the goaltender. So I think Connor Murphy does that.
Well, he told me a great story. We're going to play the interview after you, but he told me a great story about because I say, like, if you meet Connor Murphy, he's like just generally a nice human, right? And which isn't a surprise. There's lots of tough guys in the NHL who are actually super nice off the ice, and then they flip a switch and they're lunatics, kind of like Mike Rupp on the ice. And but he told me that when he first broke into Arizona, Jim Playfair and Dave Tippett were the coaches, and they would show him videos of when he played nice in front of the net and when you played mean. And they would show you here, this is you playing nice, this is playing mean. And that's how he learned it from Jim Playfair, and just, to play mean at times in the game. And mean doesn't mean, dropping your gloves. Like, dropping your gloves is courageous, and, sometimes you're just mad and whatever, and sometimes it's your role. But playing mean, Rupper, I think there's a difference, right? Like there's guys you played against that can be mean. And in a lot of cases, those guys are hard to play against. A guy who well, he's going to fight the tough guys, but he's not going to touch me. I don't really worry about him. But the mean guy, I got to worry about.
And that's so bang on, because you could be difficult to play against. Everybody has to be difficult to play against. Like Connor McDavid is difficult to play against. What do I know? I haven't played against him, but when you watch him, because he competes on pucks. His talent. I mean, he works hard. He's got a little bit of edge to his game as far as a superstar goes. So his will look a little bit different than some others. But I always find that one thing that all players can control, maybe superstars, or you can give them a free pass on this because they got bigger fish to fry. But it's just simple things. When you get an offensive zone whistle or freeze by the goaltender, just hang around a little longer in the blue paint. Just stand there. You don't even have to do anything. Yes, when you come off the ice, just give extra longer looks at the other team's bench. Don't even say anything. You don't have to drop your gloves. When you're going off the ice, just give a little bit of a shove in the back to somebody. You're not going to get called for that. But, these little things, it's hard to play against, because when you have an 82-game season, I don't want to worry about in game 37, this idiot who's shoving me after every play, getting in my way. He's always there. Like, these are things that, as dumb as it sounds, it makes you a pain in the butt to play against. And I think that's a little bit of a lost art, but some guys still have it. It makes them really valuable. Mike
Rupp joins us. So, Rupper, we've seen a few other trades already. Nashville gets rid of some bottom guys into Karen. Good face-off guy that's going to help Minnesota. Cole Smith goes to Vegas. Vegas, man, the Mark Stone, we'll be watching close there about the injury to Mark Stone, because that impacts them. And they got a tough sked, and they have really struggled against playoff teams this year, has Vegas. Vegas just hasn't been that good. Funny enough, right? And no one in the Pacific Division really has, but Vegas loses their emotional guy. I think that could be a big loss. What'd you make of the Tyler Myers move for Dallas?
Man, I think it was great. I mean, I think Tyler Myers is a player that over the last number of years, when you've watched his game, so he comes in, and I'm pretty sure he won a Calder, right, in Buffalo. He was Rookie of the Year. Maybe that set an unfair standard to where we thought his career was going to go. But I always find that in in the playoffs, I feel like he's one of those players that seems more valuable. Guys like him seem more valuable because they're big, because they're rangy. It's just a different game that time of year. So the Dallas Stars are super fun to watch offensively. I think they are a pretty good, sound team defensively, and their goaltending over the last number of years. But certainly not going to hurt getting bigger and getting rangy and a guy that can move. And so I like Tyler Myers there. I'm still wondering if they're going to do anything up front or if they've got room to do that. But the Tyler Myers move, I think, certainly helps them.
If you look at a team like the Sabres, Rupper, they had another big win. Like, suddenly they're 2 points back at Tampa Bay. Tampa's lost 3 in a row. The Sabres have won 4 in a row. And now Tampa does have 2 games in hand. But the Sabres have been the best team in the NHL now since December 1st. Where do you come out on the balance of, well, I don't want to disrupt too much of what we got going here. It's good. Or I'm like, man, I really like what we have. How do I add? What do you think Kekalainen does? Because, we heard the Robert Thomas, like that'd be a pretty significant move. What do you make of the approach for Kekalainen and the Sabres?
They're it's such an interesting spot because of the obvious, because they went from a team that we thought was just, fire everybody, get rid of everybody, to being this story here over the last 30 some games or whatever. Here's where I'm at with them. It's like, when you're going this good for this long through this stretch, it's like, do you want to disrupt that? No. But also, you got to look at the Eastern Conference. We've said probably a million times how wide open it is this year. If there's ever a year to kind of go swinging out of your shoes, it's probably this year. So I understand both sides of that. Here's the other thing that I think even makes it more sticky. Now, I don't know Buffalo's situation as far as every team uses analytics to a degree, and some more than others. When you start looking at the underlying numbers, which some people are married to that to a fault. Some people don't pay enough attention to it. What they're doing even through this stretch, their underlying numbers aren't very good. Like, and at the end of the day, I'm a hockey guy. I grew up and played the game in the National Hockey League without looking at any of that stuff. So inside that room, they don't care. They got the vibes going, the feel good stuff. But I kind of sit there and as a team that looks at things like this, do you take that into account too? Like, this is a team that is getting tons of goaltending. They're getting timely goals. Like, they're not generating a ton, or they're giving up a ton on the other side of the puck. But at the end of the day, they're finding ways to win. All of this makes this very murky for me in the Buffalo Sabres. But at the end of the day, this is a franchise that hasn't won, hasn't been to the playoffs in a long time. I think he's due swing for the fences. If you could land a player like that that's got term moving forward, I'm not worried about the team chemistry. I'm looking at the opportunity, and I'm also looking at the next few years ahead.
About the Montreal Canadiens, now they're 1 back of Detroit, 3 back of Buffalo in that race for home ice, but they're also only 4 points up, 5 points up on Columbus for a playoff spot, and they've been floundering a little bit here, not terribly, but. What do you make of them and the need for a goaltender?
It's huge. It's huge because my biggest concerns with them is goaltending, and I hate always harping on this, but their best players are undersized. So, it's the goaltending is probably the bigger factor because I think this team plays with a ton of gumption. I love the way they have pushed back anytime they've dropped a few in a row or kind of feel like they're coming back down to earth. So I think there's a lot of character in that room. Goaltending's a huge one, though, because you're going to, no matter who you are, what team you are, you're going to need a timely save in the playoffs. Or more importantly, you can't have an untimely one to go in against. Like, that is such a rally killer in the playoffs. So, the goalie market that's out there, and Vegas is a team that comes to mind as well. Like, there's some teams that I think you have to do something. I think Montreal falls under that category. They have to do something before Friday's deadline.
Yeah, I would agree wholeheartedly with you on that one. Last one, Rupper. In the West, and the Pacific Division is wide open. The Vegas Golden Knights, heck, they might be going after Jordan Binnington. It would not shock me at all when I see how they are. That's an organization that feels they can win every year. I don't think they like their goaltending. So give me your thoughts on Vegas and Anaheim. We know Edmonton's already made one move, and I think they'd like to make another. But Vegas, Anaheim, and actually the Utah and Seattle. You got 4 teams there. all battling. Utah obviously is only for a wild card spot, but what do you make of those four and the need to, and is there a type of acquisition for Vegas, Anaheim, Utah, and Seattle each? Which one you like?
So I think the big one for me is probably, like we just kind of mentioned, is it like a Jordan Binnington for Vegas. Vegas is a team that I think if you're sitting there and you're looking at that Pacific, and this is not to discredit anybody in the Pacific, and it's very hard to even say this because of the team in Edmonton, a team that you never bet against those guys there, just the big guys there in Edmonton. But I think if you're Vegas, you're sitting there and you're like, our one singular problem on our team is goaltending. Like if we got, and when they won, they had a great goalie environment that they needed just good goaltending, and that kind of welcomed in Aiden Hill. They still provide a pretty good top 5 in the league goalie environment, and their goaltending is just not there. It's been really bad. And they've got other problems. They're not a perfect team. And you mentioned injuries that they've had kind of throughout the year. But I almost think to myself, like, if they can do that, that almost, like, for me, that punches them. It gives them a great chance to go Western Conference Final. And that, again, not to discredit anybody else, because you can argue the same thing with Edmonton. If Edmonton can figure out how to defend a little bit better, that could punch their ticket there as well. Like, the path isn't over the top in that Pacific Division. So then I think of like an Anaheim. They're a fun team. They're an exciting team. They're a team, if I could pick one to move forward with a franchise, if I was playing in fantasy land and I could be the GM moving forward, this team would be up there with everybody, be at the top of the list. I mean, they're a fun team for the next number of years. I don't really know what and if they do anything here before the deadline. The big one for me is Utah. I think Utah has to get in. I think you're still building a fan base there. You've got to get into the playoffs, and they're a team that I think you'll end up having a re-signing of Schmaltz. I think that's going to be huge for them. But I also think that that's a franchise dating back to their days in Arizona that they've always needed a shot in the arm at some point in the season. They have accumulated picks, they've prospects, all that stuff, and it's never really been done. But this is the latest into the season we've seen them be good. I think that Bill Armstrong needs to do something there in Utah.
I would agree wholeheartedly. Rupper, great stuff as always, buddy. We will be breaking it down on Friday night. Have yourself a great day.
Awesome, buddy. You too.
There you go. That's Mike Rupp from the NHL Network. We will take a quick break. We'll return, and Connor Murphy. I had a one-on-one with Murphy. I'm telling you, Oiler fans, you're going to want to listen to it. Coming up next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
And now Action Electrical's testing team is on defense duty. They're the guardians of safety and compliance, a critical part of any lineup.
Precisely. They perform rigorous safety and code compliance testing for commercial operations. Think of them as the referees, ensuring everything is up to standard before disaster strikes.
Their preventative plays are legendary, spotting faults early. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Looking for the perfect gift? Give the gift of great taste with a Loca Quality Market gift card. Redeemable at any Loca Quality Market or Loca operated restaurant. It's a treat for food lovers. Ready anytime. Grab yours today at loca.ca.
Five-time Junior Hockey League champions, the Spruce Grove Saints, are excited to be back on the ice at the brand new Thompson Family Arena. Be part of the action and enjoy some of the best junior hockey Canada has to offer by experiencing a Saints game for your next outing. Tickets range from $10 to $17 with free parking and some of the best food and drink specials in town. For more information on tickets and how you can become a partner, go to sgsaints.ca.
Is your digestive system crying for help? NAC and Nutri probiotic veggie caps fight bloating and constipation, strengthen immunity, and can even aid in weight management. Find them at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
Edmonton's only 24-hour-a-day sports radio station can be heard anytime, anywhere. Sports 1440 is streaming on your phone, your tablet, your computer. Download an app today and listen to Sports 1440.
At Hughes, it's all about getting in and out quick and clean. No cash, no problem. With Hughes' new tap and wash system, all you need is your debit or credit card to get your vehicle sparkling clean.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
Don't let equipment failure stop you cold. At AWS Welding in Nisku, our factory-trained service techs are on hand for all welding equipment repairs. We're a full warranty center for Miller, Lincoln, and ESAB, and we service all makes and models. Proper, regular service extends the life of your gear and keeps it running at peak capacity. Don't wait for a breakdown. Book your service appointment today at aws.ca. AWS Welding. Our welding keeps you working.
Exciting news from St. Albert Dodge. The all-new 2026 Jeep Gladiator Sport packages have arrived. They have a great selection and a bunch of colors to choose from. And if you've checked out the Sport, you know it comes in some fun colors. Rugged capability, practical off-road features, and you can get behind the wheel for as low as $49,900. That's right. Put yourself in a brand new Jeep Gladiator Sport for less than $50,000. What more can you ask for? Time to head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
For over 60 years, the folks at Diablo Boots have been selling the best Canadian-made boots. Handcrafted in Winnipeg, Canada West makes the best quality cowboy, biker, and work boots for Diablo Boots with replaceable soles and heels. Why buy cheaper quality like Ariat, Justin, and Red Wing made in China when Canadian-made is better? Support Canada's workers and Diablo Boots for the best boots. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Canada West and Diablo Boots, the two best names in the boots business.
Portions of this hour brought to you by UL. Helping you finish your electrical project is their goal. From pot lights to electrical panels, the gear you need is at ul.ca or in person at one of their Edmonton area locations. ul.ca, your partners in power.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
$2:30. Welcome back, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Hope you're having a great Wednesday. I can tell you, Oiler fans, I think you're going to be fans of Connor Murphy. Sat down with him, and we're going to get to that in a second. Discussed lots just about what he thinks he brings to the table. His excitement for playing in the playoffs in front of fans, something he's never done in his NHL career. That answer, I think, will endear himself to Oiler fans. Also, his favorite goal ever scored, classic goal. I didn't remember it. It's awesome. And the one skill set that I think might be the most important aspect of his game that he's going to bring to the Oilers. We'll get to all that as we go to the Oil Report, brought to you by Go Auto. 71 locations. If you're looking for a vehicle, trucks, cars, SUVs, you name it, they have it all. GoAuto.ca, over 15,000 vehicles to choose from. And I will say, because I just got a new Honda Pilot, if you're a taller person, you should test drive a Pilot. That's got the most space inside that I've ever had in an SUV. It's wild to me. Like, it almost felt like too big. The outside, it's no bigger than any other one I've driven. But inside, it's amazing. Lots of headroom. So if you're a taller gent or lady, you might want to check one out. GoAuto.ca. And here's a conversation I had earlier today with Connor Murphy.
Second time you've been traded, but in season, first time going to a playoff contender. Kind of walk me through the last few days for yourself.
Yeah, I've been obviously a crazy mix of all emotions and mainly excitement, a little bit of the nerves going into it, and obviously reminiscing on good times and amazing 9 years in Chicago. But honestly, it feels like time for a great change, and to be able to come here and have this new challenge, I'm really grateful for. And for Stan to give me that opportunity is amazing. And get the call yesterday. Me and my wife are full of excitement to come to such a great team and organization that you could see on the outside, and being inside for one day can already tell why it has that reputation. And I just want to get started and help however I can do for the team.
I think a lot of people who follow know Connor Murphy, a hard worker, takes pride in defensive zone, will stand up for his teammates. And one of the elements of your game that this team maybe lacks a bit is real toughness in front of the net. I know that it's different. You can't Chris Pronger guys and cross-check them 10 times without getting a penalty, but you found a way to make it hard. How do you make it hard, and can that be infectious?
It can. I think as a defenseman, that's where you take pride, mainly because a lot of the goals are scored around the net. There's a lot of talent and speed nowadays of guys taking rushes and taking one-timers cross ice, but majority of goals are still happening around the slot. So if you can really protect that, whether it's physically or with blocking or a good stick, that's really a key to defending. And I've learned for a while about using your body to either box guys out, use your stick, but even honestly building into being a shot blocking defenseman where you at times can't get a body on a guy and you're going to front and try to sacrifice yourself for a block for the team. So there's definitely a knack to doing it, and every play has got a different life of its own around the net, but it's definitely a staple of a defenseman.
You've been very good on the best penalty killing unit in the NHL this year. You're going to come here, and the guys have talked about it. You're obviously going to fit in well. Is there a big difference in how you'll penalty kill here compared to how you did in Chicago?
Talking to the coach so far, it doesn't sound like really either any or much difference at all. So if anything, it's just chemistry building with players. It's a combination with the forwards and D. That's what we had in Chicago, honestly, all season. We had the same 4 guys on the top PK unit working together. So in practices and meetings and games, you build that chemistry, and it really is a 4-man unit, and making sure you're in flow and sync with each other, taking away the danger areas and staying calm to get your clears. So I'm excited to get in with penalty killers here, and I hope it'll be a seamless transition, which I think it will systemly, and just trying to get acclimated with the guys and build chemistry.
It's been a long time since you've been in a playoff push late in the year. Even the year you guys did make the playoffs, the season was postponed and you weren't really in the playoff race at that time. How exciting is that? And is it easier to get traded knowing you're coming somewhere where like the intensity has to ratchet up?
Yeah, in a way, it's I found it hard the last few years when you're out of it. It's hard to prepare for games knowing you're just playing to play for individual accolades or individual stat lines and scrape a win here and there. That's a hard thing to almost mentally prepare for. But when you prepare knowing that the game means something, it's easy to get up for, easy to turn it on and to get intense and play with passion and pride. So I think you want that, you invite that pressure because it means you're in the right spot where you want to be. And I hope to really be impactful as I can in impactful games.
How have you evolved and improved, you feel, defensively? Like, it's a lot of people just say, wow, you know what, the defense is a lot about will, maybe more so than skill at times. And I'm not sure that's 100% accurate, but how do you feel you've improved as a defender, especially as the games evolve and gotten quicker?
I think the biggest thing I've improved on is probably just being level-headed. I think earlier in my career, which is natural for a young defenseman to get rattled by mistakes, you let up goals and you know it's your fault, and then you start to snowball and think you're letting your team down, and next thing you know, one bad goal turns into a bad period and bad games. I think where I've grown and matured is just being able to make mistakes and just move on with it and be impactful the next shift. And not saying that always happens, but that's something where I felt like I've been able to grow. And I think for a lot of veteran players, it's something that you're able to come to grips with, is that there's going to be mistakes everywhere in the game, and you're going to have to just keep pushing forward. And there's ways to still have a good game even after making some mistakes.
You made the playoffs once. Funny enough, it was against the Edmonton Oilers, and you guys beat them. But it was a unique time. There's no crowd.
Yeah.
You're a few months away from your first playoff with fans in a Canadian market. How exciting is that?
It's great. Yeah, I think the games as a road team speak themselves even regular season here. And as you made a comment last night, I think the Oilers fans wear the most jerseys in the crowd that I've seen anywhere in the league. So to show that dedication, to want to come and show the pride and let alone hear it is something that really stands out in Edmonton. And I think that's honestly why I didn't credit that COVID playoff to much, because I think the fans are what make playoffs as far as the intensity and what's on the line, and to feel that ride of a roller coaster of emotions with them as players. I think that's what makes it intense. And I can't wait for that.
Talking to people around the league, teammates, even new teammates, Connor Murphy, one of the nicest guys you'll meet, like very genuine human being. And then you see Connor Murphy on the ice, he's got a little bit of a switch. Where'd that come from?
I don't know. I think it's competitiveness. I think it's just frustration sometimes builds up with with competing. And honestly, I started my career my first year. We had Jim Playfair who coached here, and he was all about showing a little bit of meanness and grit and a little bit of FU, he'd call it, in your game. So him and Dave Tippett, who we had in Arizona as well, you guys at Edmonton, they would point out clips when you weren't being mean and then when you were being mean, and showing what was right and wrong, and showing that if you want to be an impactful defenseman, that you have to be able to grit your teeth and take some and give some. So I think that's where that started a little bit. And then I think for any player, when you can kind of get your nose dirty a little bit, it gets you involved in the game. And hockey is a physical sport, and you want to be able to bring the best out of yourself competitively.
It also, I feel at times, can bring your other teammates into the fight a little bit, right? And you know, on this team, there's lots of skill, and there's obviously some guys, Darnell Nurse and others, Trent Frederick, who will play physical, but having a little bit more of a pack mentality. So not only can you bring the defensive game, you feel you can bring in an emotional bolt.
Hopefully, yeah, that's what you want to be as a player, role player in a team. And honestly, I think even from the skill side of the game, what I've learned over years is it doesn't have to be running a guy with a hit, or it doesn't have to be blocking a shot off your ankle or getting in a fight. What guys offer, which I even see here, the top end skill guys, is that willingness to get into a battle, to when it's hard against a hard defenseman or a hard player that's strong, and those guys going in head first trying to get a puck. I think that's compete, and that's physicality in its own way. So to see a team effort in that, I think it stands out, and it's something you want to have as a group, to be known as a team to be hard to play against.
You come from an organization, and obviously when you started there, you had Patrick Kane and Taves, but last few years it's a lot of younger skill, Connor Bedard and Lev Shunoff and other guys in the back end. You come in here and you got McDavid and you got Draisaitl, and you got Evan Bouchard. And as somebody who's played against them, I want to start with Bouchard. As a defenseman, what element of his game do you appreciate the most?
As his patience and puck play. I think that's something that's hard to teach and hard to grow as a player. Personally, it's been something that I've found a little more natural defending and trying to grow some of the puck play, skating plays in my game, and knowing that doesn't come easy and natural. So for him to have that ability over the course of a game, and especially in playoffs, you see the production he's had to be able to move the puck and to be able to be patient in pressure situations while playing a lot of minutes. I think that stands out, and to do that against top lines isn't easy. So he's definitely a great player, and I've said it, I think a lot of these D have a lot of great skill sets and attributes to bring.
Connor, you mentioned your wife. So do you have kids?
I do have a 1.5-year-old Tucker boy, yeah.
Okay. And so obviously your wife and son coming with you to come to Edmonton. You're in a team now. You got some older guys, lots of other guys with kids. The importance of family and how important that is when you go through a life-changing event like this.
Yeah, it's big. I think I've learned a lot from being married and from having a kid. And what's good for you, I think, is you realize that life isn't all hockey. Sometimes it can be hard when you're young and you just sit around your room and think about how you can play better and train better and practice better. And now you have that release, and you have something that's even more important than hockey, having a son and a wife and a family. And I've been super grateful for them to support me. And then even just to have that love and family aspect, I think has been the biggest thing that happened in my life. And it's honestly led me, like I said, to be a better player just from having that, to be able to disattach away from the game and come back and feel a little bit more fresh.
And one other serious one, and then we'll get some fun rapid fire. You do a lot of philanthropy work in Chicago, something I respect immensely. I think it's huge important that you have a platform, you use it positively. Where did that come about? How did you get involved so much with wanting to help out with off of the ice and different charities?
Honestly, it was veterans that I played with before. I had Shane Doan as my captain in Arizona. We had Keith Seabrook, Taves Kane in Chicago, and they all had their own charity events. They all had their own, whether it was a foundation or whether it was a certain parts of the community they specifically honed in on. Even Nick Foligno, he gets really involved with the Children's Hospital and his foundation he has from his mother and his daughter. And I think I just really admire those guys who are able to connect to the community and honestly just realize that the platform you have is so big to be able to give back. And hockey players are just people and normal guys, but for some people to see it as a elevated experience, it's so easy to go and meet people and to get to know and honestly be inspired by people. I think there's so many people that have harder lives, whether it's their job or what they're going through, and to be able to go and meet them is inspiring, and to get to know them in the community, I think, is a bonus that you wouldn't get to do sometimes you weren't a high level professional hockey team. So I've been grateful to be able to meet those people and be involved in the community and try to help whenever we can.
So fun little rapid fire. How would you rank yourself as a cook, and what's your go-to meal?
Cook, I would say I can do the basics. So I would rate myself like a 6 out of 10 because there's no fanciness to it, but I can put a balanced meal together. And then the go-to meal would probably be either chicken breast or salmon, just easy grilled, and then put together like some diced sweet potato.
What are you streaming on Netflix? What's your go-to shows right now?
I just finished a couple. What did I finish? Oh, I finally finished Game of Thrones. I was really late to that. So this season, I bared down and watched all this every season, and then I after that did this Knights of the Seven Kingdoms one. So I was late to the game, but guys are excited around the room to get back into the Game of Thrones talk. Everyone's into that.
Book? Are you a reader?
Unfortunately, no. I fall asleep when I read, so I wish I was.
What's a hobby that you do away from hockey?
I'd say golf is a big one. Having a kid and definitely took some time away from that in the summer. But I'd say a combination of golf and then being in Chicago, a lot of big restaurant scene.
And lastly, favorite goal you've ever scored?
Favorite goal I've ever scored was either I could probably say my first NHL goal, and then I was lucky to score the game-winning goal for the U18 World Championships for USA. I had the gold medal game-winning overtime goal, so that was something that helped me honestly get drafted. So that was a big moment to have as a youth player to kind of come up and give yourself some confidence.
Talked to Connor about that goal afterwards, and man, he still remembered it exactly. So you're U18, you're 17 years of age. They got a 4-on-3 on overtime. Took a shot, was blocked, took another shot, went in. And he was joking about, oh, man, I just did a crazy celebration. I'm pulling on the jersey. And he laughed. He goes, it was terrible. I'm like, man, you're 17. How could you not celebrate like that? He kind of laughed. He goes, yeah, you're probably right. Like, you just talk about in that moment what you feel like as a hockey player. It's something, from a goal scoring standpoint, he's never scored about. But he did joke that this year, even in Chicago, because he's not a huge goal scorer, he scored a big goal for them. And the team like dogpiled on him. He thought it was hilarious. So you listen to him, and he's very upbeat. He's very smiling, very personal guy. Has a little bit of a mean factor on the ice. I love what he does away from the game. I think it's hugely important to use your platform. And I loved how he said, he goes, man, I'm better because I got to meet all those people in the children's hospital and stuff. And so you look at it just from a human element side. I think having better humans on your team is never a bad thing. Guys who compete super hard, and you obviously have to have skill on the ice, but when they're good, down to earth, humble, well-spoken people off the ice, I think that's a big, big advantage. Now, speaking of big, how about this? Sounds like Colton Parayko is going to the Buffalo Sabres. Rada Murtka and a first-round pick are part of it. Not sure who else is going to be involved, but this is I know there's lots of people online who think Parayko isn't good, and I don't understand it. I'm like, I think some people, you can show that you over analyze your analytics if that's the conclusion you come to. Colton Parayko is going to help that team a lot. First of all, they don't have many right shots. You got Rasmus Dahlin left shot, Owen Power left shot, Bowen Byram left shot, Mattias Samuelsson left shot. The only real right shot they have is Michael Kessering, right? So, and it does matter. Right, you can have the odd guy, but when you have, it helps in certain areas. And Parayko's huge, right? Kills penalties. He just played 18 minutes a night in a gold medal game at the Olympics. You don't think he's good? Like, I think people are delusional on that one. I think that's a hell of a trade. I'm curious what the full deal is going to be. And the Blues, like, you got to think there's some salary going back. I'll be curious to see who it is, though. But Parayko to the Buffalo Sabres. That's the big deal. Take a quick break. We'll return. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Booster Juice is going crazy for hazelnuts.
No, not crazy. Nuts.
Booster Juice is going bananas for hazelnuts.
I mean, there are bananas in smoothies, but that's not the point.
Banana juice is booster for hazelnuts.
What? Just stop.
Booster Juice is going nuts for hazelnut. Introducing the Nutty Monkey Smoothie, Holy Hazelnut Acai Bowl, and Nutty Booster Ball, all made with rich, creamy hazelnut spread. Try them today, only at Booster Juice. Canadian born, blending since 1999.
At GS Construction, every winter plan becomes a spring project. Every repaired line and every improved system is how we build the next chapter of Edmonton's infrastructure. And we can't do that without the best and the brightest in the field. That's why right now, GS Construction is looking to hire experienced top men, pipe layers, and operators who can step in and hit the ground running. With a people-first mentality, career growth, and comprehensive benefits, why would you want to work anywhere else? To apply, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Saturday at Rogers Place. Celebrate orange plastic tracks and the toy most likely to go through your washing machine. Don't miss the first ever Edmonton Oil Kings Hot Wheels game.
Be there as your Oil Kings crash and bash up the Medicine Hat Tigers.
There will be Hot Wheel car giveaways for the kids and more adrenaline-fueled fun.
And Calmont Kids food combos are $10 or less. The value is monster truck sized.
The Edmonton Oil Kings Hot Wheels game versus Medicine Hat, 7 p.m. Saturday.
Great seats at Rogers Place start at only $20 at oilkings.ca.
Need a new ride for road trips, errands, or just life on the go? Go Auto offers a massive selection with over 15,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. With over 70 locations across Western Canada, finding your next ride has never been easier. Whether it's a roomy SUV for the family, a sleek car for the open road, or a rugged truck for your weekend adventures, you'll find it here at a price you'll love. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
Want sports talk on the go?
You can listen to 1440 on the AM dial or stream us on your mobile device through apps like Radio Player, iHeart, and Stingray Music.
Edmonton sports fans,
Turn to Sports 1440.
1440.
It's the iconic Jasper Ave Patty Party. That's on the rocks.
We're turning Jasper Avenue green.
Your 5-day St. Patty's Day party kicks off Friday at OTR.
With live entertainment every day.
Including the Feelin' Lucky burlesque show on Sunday.
Plus pipers, Irish dancers, and doors open at 9 a.m. on the 17th.
We got more green beer than Marco has fancy shirts. And trust me, that's a lot.
Lucky the Leprechaun will be there.
Will you?
It's the iconic Jasper Ave Patty Party. That's on the rocks. Next round's on me. Woohoo!
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
Support your circulatory health with NACA Platinum Nattokinase. This powerful enzyme cleans your arteries, helps with varicose veins, promotes improved blood flow, and more. Find NACA Platinum Nattokinase at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
The Price is Right Live is coming to Canada, and the Brick is a proud sponsor. Come on down to the Brick to win big this Saturday, March 7th from noon to 2. Join us at the Brick South Edmonton Common for your chance to instantly win from over $25,000 in prizes, including Brick shopping sprees, TVs, Oilers tickets, and so much more. No purchase necessary. Some conditions apply. See in-store for contest details and exclusions. So come on down to the Brick South Edmonton Common this Saturday.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor, the best place for wine, cocktails, and beers from all over the world. Also a variety of excellent non-alcoholic options. See more at SherbrookeLiquor.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
So a little clarification on that Parayko deal. Sounds like Parayko has yet to sign off on the if he's going to make it or not, but odds are they think he does say yes. Obviously, they probably would have presented something to him in advance, but he has a full no movement clause, and so would have to agree to waive to it. But it sounds like the trade is pretty much there. Radim Murtka, a first rounder, are going to be some key parts of it, and they're waiting. They're probably not going to name the other player until they know if Parayko agrees to it or not. So obviously somebody from the Sabres lineup is going to go. So it looks like Colton Parayko, the pride of St. Albert, who I remember when he won the Stanley Cup, he had his party at the Glendale. And, there's just a few random guys that, we're playing golf, some members there, and he was having his celebration. Parayko's such a good guy that, a few of his buddies knew some of these guys, like friends of a friend. And he's like, just come on in. And so they're in there, having fun, getting to see the cup. He's just that good of a dude. So I've always, I think Parayko is one of those ones where sometimes I think it's undervalued because people just look at analytics and don't necessarily watch everything. Analytics are a great thing, but if you're only going to evaluate on that and you never watch him play, I think you're missing something. So, or at least say, I'm only basing it on the analytics, which is fine if that's what you want to do. But just like the eye test might not tell you everything, analytics don't tell you everything. You need to look at some other things. Now, let's get to our stats of the day, brought to you by All-Star Construction. Founded in 2009, they become the largest contractor in their space at the land development, power, gas installation. They also do telecommunication and street lighting. That's All-Star Construction. And I think it's important to look at the stats today of the playoff race in the Pacific Division. I'm sure many of you have looked at the standings. Maybe you haven't, but it's tight. The Vegas Golden Knights lead with 70 points. Anaheim has 68. Anaheim has 69. Edmonton has 68. Seattle has 67. Those are the top four. Then the Sharks have 64. But the Sharks have 1 game in hand on Seattle, and Anaheim 2 games in hand on the Golden Knights, and 3 games in hand on the Oilers. So they're not out of it. But I'll get to why it's a little bit of a long shot. The LA Kings are on life support. They are 5 points behind Seattle for the second wild card spot, 4th place in the Pacific Division. And they have no games in hand. And they've been floundering. They have given up 7 points to Seattle in the last 10 games. So now they kind of got to reverse that because they're 5 back. You got to gain 6 games in 22. Possible? Yes. Difficult? For sure. And here's kind of why. The Kings play 11 at home, 11 on the road. They play 9 against playoff teams. But the Kings and the Sharks, the teams who are out of it currently, they both have 5 sets of back-to-back games. So that's almost half of their games. All right, because obviously you play 1 and then 2. They play 22, do the Kings. The Kings only play teams they're chasing. Edmonton once, Seattle once. Not great if you're the Kings. The Sharks, they play the Ducks once and the Oilers twice. The Oilers actually have the most games remaining of these teams in the division. They play Vegas 3 times. They play the Sharks twice. They play Anaheim, Seattle, and LA once. And Edmonton has dominated the Pacific Division for quite some time. So I would argue that Edmonton controls their destiny maybe more than anybody else in the division. You look at the remaining Vegas 21 games. They have 12 at home, 9 on the road, 13 against playoff teams. Anaheim has 22 games left, 11 at home, 11 on the road, and 7 against playoff teams. They also have those games against the Sharks, who I know they're not a playoff team, but they're right on the cusp. The Oilers have 20 games left, 12 at home, 8 on the road, and 4 of those road games come up after this home game against Carolina. So you think about that. After that, the Oilers will have 11 home games and 4 road games in their final 15. So if the Oilers can find a way to go at least 2-2 on the road trip next season, they set themselves up very well if they can take advantage of it. They have 12 games against playoff teams, and they play the Kings and they play the Sharks twice. So they got a lot of games about that. All right. So and then Seattle, 22 games, 12 at home, 10 on the road, 9 against playoff teams. So the Oilers do have more against playoff teams except Vegas, but because them and Vegas play each other 3 times, that's maybe a little skewed in how you look at it, but that's how it is. So I look at the Oilers' remaining schedule. It's pretty solid. More home games than road games, especially after next week. Like next week is probably the week where you look and say, hey, get 2-2. If they could go 2-1-1 on that road trip, they would be, I think they'd be really happy overall on that. So some other numbers to look at for the Oilers. I mentioned who they play, right? They don't have back-to-backs. The Oilers only have 2 back-to-backs. One is next week, and then the other one comes in April where they have 2 days off. Then they play back-to-back against Utah and San Jose. And then they have 2 more days off. So, yeah, it's two games back-to-back, but it's really in the middle of 2 games in 6 days. So it's actually a very favorable schedule for the Edmonton Oilers. Cons, you're yammering in my ear. What is it?
Yeah, Elliot Friedman reporting Utah Calgary closing on a deal for Mackenzie Weegar, just awaiting his approval.
Ooh, okay. All right. Well, there you go. So 2 big defensemen being moved out. So we'll see where it goes. But Weegar to Utah, that does impact the Oilers in a way, because the Oilers, I still think they'll probably finish top 3. But if they don't, then they're in a wild card battle against Utah. So that's how it comes out with Utah. So Mackenzie Weegar, we knew that Utah was going to take a swing. This is not a big surprise to me. So those are some of the other numbers. You look at Parayko and Weegar. Parayko going to Buffalo. Weegar's going to go to Utah. Got some teams wheeling and dealing, man. Some wheeling and dealing. And those are 2 fan bases. I know Ottawa is very much raw comparatively. Ottawa's been in the league only a few years. But you want to get your fans into that excitement, nervousness of playoff hockey. And the Buffalo Sabres, they just want to reintroduce it to their fans, having been out of it for the last 14 years. Like, I keep telling you, man, the one playoff game I'd want to go to is in Buffalo. Like, I would literally consider, depending on when that game is, take a red eye the night before, get there, get into Buffalo, watch that game, or maybe even take the red eye back home. Honestly, I think it'd be worth it. I think it's going to be a hell of an experience. It's going to be loud, and it's going to be very, very boisterous. So there's some of the stats and trades of the day, brought to you by All Star Construction. When we return, we will hear from Aaron Portzline. What about the Blue Jackets? Third line center, Oiler fans? Boone Jenner? What about a Charlie Coyle, Trent Frederick reunion? They're really good together in Boston. But are the Blue Jackets even going to trade anybody? They're still in it. They just won their last 2. And they got Florida, who's in sell mode tomorrow night. So we'll find out from Porty. No one's tapped in more to the Blue Jackets than Portzline. He will join us after a Connor Halley Sports 1440 update, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home of the no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. That's legacyheating.ca.
The Sports 1440 update.
For reports, Buffalo Sabres acquiring Colton Parayko from the St. Louis Blues for redeem merchant and a first-round pick. Still waiting for that to be finalized. Elliot Friedman reporting Utah and Calgary closing in on a Mackenzie Weegar deal. Still awaiting his approval. The Dallas Stars acquiring defenseman Tyler Myers from the Canucks for a second-round pick in 2027 and a fourth-rounder in 2029. The Canucks will also retain 50% of Myers' $3 million contract. And the San Jose Sharks signing a 5-year extension with keeper Sherwood, carrying an AAV of $5.75 million. He's got 18 goals, 25 points in 49 games between the Canucks and the Sharks. On the ice tonight, you got the Golden Knights in Detroit, Toronto taking on New Jersey, Canucks and Canes, Islanders in Anaheim, the Kraken host the Blues in the association, Thunder travel to New York taking on the Knicks, the Sixers host the Jazz, Grizz take on the Blazers, Hawks in Milwaukee, Clippers hosting the Pacers. In the AJ, Calgary in action, leading Camrose 2-0 in the second, and in the PWHL tonight, Seattle in Ottawa, puck drop 5. From the NFL, the Chiefs sending all-pro cornerback Trent McDuffie to the Rams for the 29th overall pick, as well as a 5th and 6th round pick in this year's draft, plus a 3rd rounder next year. And the Patriots have informed wide receiver Stephon Diggs that he will be released at the start of the league year. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll look around the NHL with Aaron Portzline of The Athletic, and be joined by Tyler Yaremchuk from Oilers Nation. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
60 years ago, we started selling trucks as Western GMC Buick. Today, we are Wolf GMC Buick. We're still located on the corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road with the same ownership for over 2 decades. Our customers have trusted our family-owned, community-driven business. And for that, we are thankful. If you're looking for a truck or SUV, pop in and one of our seasoned professionals will get you a great deal, hassle-free. Come trust our team at Wolf GMC Buick. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, There's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Hi, I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. We've been tightening bolts and redefining our industry for 25 years. Yes, a quarter century, and we're just getting started. Check us out at Cantork.com. Our tools age better than I do.
Great news for your weekend project. CFI, that's Custom Floors Inc., is now open 6 days a week with Saturday hours from 10 till 2. Get top quality Canadian products from Beaulieu with the convenience you need. For your free estimate, visit CFI at customfloorsinc.ca.
No fluff, no fillers, just pure entertainment. Sports 1440 brings the heat with bold opinions, big personalities, and Edmonton's fiercest fans. This is your turf. This is Edmonton's sports leader, Sports 1440.
At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, healing doesn't have to feel heavy because in our SwimX aquatic therapy pools, you literally float your way to recovery. Whether you're dealing with arthritis, back pain, joint injuries, post-surgical rehab, chronic pain, balance issues, mobility challenges, or just feeling a little creaky, warm water and gentle resistance have your back, your knees, and your hips. Trusted by pro sports teams and rehab hospitals, our SwimX pools help you move sooner, hurt less, and recover faster. So take the load off. Let the water do the work. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Okay, how about you give us your star winger for a bag of pucks? What if I throw in some Will Hawk beef jerky?
Afternoon.
Hawk beef jerky on their side.
Hey, afternoon. How are you?
For advantage this trade deadline. Pick up some today and use it for trade leverage in your fantasy league.
No way, man. It's way too good.
Will Hawk beef jerky, only available in Leduc. Get yours today because you don't win trades with salad.
Are you looking for an affordable business, group, or team outing this season? Why not catch the excitement of a game with the 5-time Junior Hockey League champions, the Spruce Grove Saints?
And
with extremely affordable group and suite packages available and some of the lowest food and drink prices around.
Connor Halley.
Saints games are the perfect night for your next group event.
2:30. Welcome back to
In on the Action. For more information, visit sgsaints.ca.
Missioner Allen Auctioneering's next Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg public unreserved heavy truck auction is next Thursday at 9 a.m. with tandem and single axle trucks, including tractors, decks, dumps, man lifts, plows, vacs, pickers, refuse
on
and
that
trucks, plus
Freco
more.
deal.
Info at maauctions.com.
Clarification on that clarification. For 1 year on your furnace. That's legacyheating.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows. Locally manufactured and installed, Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.306, welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. You can always get involved in the show, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. The Gregor Show is always brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Where you can get in on Lotto 649 tonight. $30 million. So there you have it. We're going to hear from Aaron Portzline in a second, but to update you, if you're just joining us, Few trades that aren't official yet, but being reported on. Colton Parayko going to Buffalo, and Mackenzie Weegar going from Calgary to Utah. So think about it. So that would mean earlier today, Tyler Myers was traded. Connor Murphy was acquired. So Murphy, Myers, Parayko, Weegar, lots of D-men being moved. And hey, trust me, the value of defensemen in the playoffs is huge. It's huge. So especially, no surprise, you look at Murphy, you look at the size of Parayko, you look at the size of Myers. Those are like Murphy's the smallest one, and he's 6'4", 215. Like Weegar's clearly the smallest, but Weegar can really move the puck and probably a breath of fresh air for him getting into Utah with that speedy forward group. So got a lot of term left on his contract. I think it's 5 years still remaining on that deal. But he was part of the Matthew Tkachuk trade from Florida that obviously worked out extremely well for Florida, more so than it did for the Calgary Flames, for sure. So we'll wait to see the details on who's going back each way. You do have the young Mertka and a first rounder going to St. Louis from Buffalo. So we don't. I still got to think there's some salary involved with the Parayko deal, just to make the numbers work. Yeah, I would think somebody off the active roster. I don't think you're trading away Parayko and getting no active players. That'd be a little strange to me. But Radim Mertka, he was the D-man for the Seattle Thunderbirds that Buffalo drafted 9th overall this past season. So you know what? That's a pretty high pick. There's some value there. So I'm not sure the player off the roster is going to be a big name player, but probably somebody with some term just to even things out. And, you look, I don't think they want to give up Matthias Amundsen. I wouldn't think so. I wonder if Connor Timmins is just thrown in there to make some of the money work. We'll see. But I think Buffalo's got a few guys that are bad. Buffalo's got a ton of cap space, though, if they want to wheel and deal some other things. So we'll follow those along because the Buffalo one doesn't really impact the Oilers by any stretch of the imagination, but the Utah trade would, because let's say even if the Oilers win the division and Utah has the number 1 wildcard spot, that's who they're playing. So that's why the Weegar one definitely has an impact potentially for the Edmonton Oilers. Now let's go around the NHL because there's lots of cities, there's lots of teams with the trade potential to discuss. Go around the NHL. Brought to you by McDonald's, where you can stop in at McDonald's right now. Of course, what's your fave? The Big Mac? I'll tell you mine. McDouble. Ooh, it's become one of my faves. Get the McDouble, no onions, and a shake right now. Only at McDonald's. And also, while you're in there, they got the new sticks are back, baby. Stick series, some interesting names on there. So check it out right now at McDonald's. As Aaron Portzline joins us, of course, longtime beat reporter for the Columbus Jackets, works at The Athletic. And Porty, how you doing, man?
Good, Jason. How are you? Keeping it together?
Oh, you know what? I'm keeping it between the lines. So that's pretty good.
There you go.
Lots of deals here. The two big ones not official, but sounds like they're close. Parayko to Buffalo and Weegar to Utah. I know the Columbus Blue Jackets are a team that lots of teams are probably waiting on because Boone Jenner, Charlie Coyle, Mason Marchman are all pending UFAs, but the Blue Jackets are coming off 2 huge wins, and I look at their team and how well they've played, and I look and say, because people are like, wow, geez, they're 5 points back. But here's the thing. The New York Islanders went 8-2 in their last 10 games, and they only gained 1 point on the Blue Jackets, right? Or sorry, they lost a point on the Blue Jackets. That's how good the Blue Jackets are playing right now. Like, I don't think they're going to give up, are they?
Well, I mean, you keep thinking it's going to even out at some point. They're 13, 12, and 1 in their last 16. And 15 of those are under the new coach, Rick Bowness. What's strange about all this is I look at them and I go, they're playing all right. I still feel like this team hasn't fully bloomed just yet. And I think GM Don Waddell's got to decide if that's coming. If that second line, however it's arranged, can finally become sort of a consistent contributor, or if this is just what they are this year. Listen, I don't think he's going to move Coyle. I suppose he listens on Jenner, but I don't think he wants to give up on Coyle, Marchman. He's got Jenner either. These guys that are playing pretty significant roles for them. They're important guys in the room for sure. Coyle's become a real leader. Jenner, of course, the captain. I don't think he's going to bust this up. I think he wants to give this group a chance. Last year, he sort of added around the edges because he wanted to give that team a real chance after all that they had been through with the Gaudreau tragedy. This year, this feels like a team to me that still has its best hockey ahead of it. Questions in goal for sure. Questions on the back end for sure. But there's a spirit about this group, and I think he's going to give them a chance to compete for a playoff spot. If he does anything, I think he adds up front. And that could be just a veteran, a more leadership guy. I think Nick Foligno could return to Columbus if that's a possibility. I think he also may be looking for some skill up front, some scoring up front, but everybody is. The one thing he has said is he's not going to add a rental.
Okay.
So take that off your list. That usually makes it hard to do deals this time of year.
Yeah, well, that's fair. So doesn't want a rental. You mentioned the blue line, and if there's questions there, why wouldn't he add on the blue line instead of up front?
Well, look, if it's not a rental, we're talking about another player with terms. So obviously, Werenski's sort of in a world all by himself. They really like Denton Matejchuk, who's first full NHL season. A lot of growth still there, but they've got some long-term deals committed to Provorov, to Severson, like many years.
Yeah.
So I think they feel it's a little bit locked in there. I think they feel like Severson's played well enough this year that's no longer like an immovable guy. And I'm not saying they move him at the trade deadline, but I don't think it's, at this point last year, people would have said, God, they're stuck with this thing for another however many years. How can they make this work? I don't think people feel that way now because he's been pretty solid this year. But there's just a lot of guys with a lot of term back there. And sorting through it is going to just take some time and figure out how to do this because I still think some of those deals might be hard to move along.
Now, you mentioned questions in goal. Yeah. Any chance he takes a swing at Binnington or Bobrovsky?
Well, wouldn't Bobrovsky be hilarious?
Yeah.
Right? And honestly, I don't know if Columbus is on Bobrovsky's list. He certainly did not like – it wasn't the city he had an issue with. Yeah. It was his desire to be the highest paid goalie. That would seem that's a big one for me, and it's possible. I think that one of those teams would have to take Merzlikins back with the understanding that they're buying out probably next year's contract, or if the Blues may feel like he's a viable option for next season. I think anything's possible. Don Waddell's known for kind of keeping it close to his chest here. And so he may be working on a larger deal than we realize. Those would surprise me, frankly. The one guy that's not getting recognition around the league that I think deserves more of it is Jet Greaves.
Yeah.
Undrafted, right? Took him a while to get to the NHL, but boy, look at his numbers. Look how he's played. I always think it's really telling to look at two goalies for the same team. And when one is dramatically better the numbers than the other one, you go, okay, that's really impressive. And Greaves has been quietly one of the NHL, certainly in the top half of goalies this year in the league, which is pretty good for his first full NHL season.
Yeah, well, he's looked really good for them. Is he essentially their starter?
He is, although I think Bowness is a smart guy. He looks at the schedule and says, nobody can really have a classic 1 and 2 right now. You have to believe in both of these guys, and if you can confuse them as much as you can, the fans, as to who the number one is, that's a good thing. Merzlikins has played really well since Bowness got here. So he's been going back and forth with them, but Greaves has certainly ascended to that number one goal for the majority of the season.
You look at Columbus, and I haven't dug deep into their schedule, Porty. I'm sure you probably have. Because I look, and I do think schedule matters as I'm pulling it up as you and I are talking right now. And I know this week was big, and they won 2 games against non-playoff teams, and they got Florida. Outside of Tampa Bay and Carolina, they don't play any of the top teams over their next 10 games. Utah's a formidable team, and they just added Uyghur, so that'll make them better. But, they got Florida this Thursday and next Thursday. And, Florida, veteran team kind of playing out the string. I'll be very curious kind of what their effort level is down the stretch. Like the Blue Jackets here, they have that game against the Islanders and the Habs. If they can stay close that week of the 22nd of March, in a weird way, could become their playoff, because I know their month of April, they got a lot of tough games.
Yeah, and you look at, they're 3 points back of Boston right now with 2 games left against the Bruins, right? So those add up to, those look to be big matchups too, both in Nationwide, March 29th, April 12th. I'm writing a piece for tomorrow, and I'm hoping to figure this out, but which of those teams for them is the team that is most likely to be caught or most available to be caught? Because they are 3 points back of Boston, but they're also 5 points back of the Islanders and Pittsburgh and Montreal. So this 13-2-1, sometimes it's weird. You don't see, if you're just looking at the team in front of you, the team that you're chasing, you sometimes don't see the closure that you'll look. But you look up and the teams just above them have sort of pulled in here too. Pittsburgh's been red hot here for quite a while now too. So Columbus has kept pace. Some people wondered, myself included, if management didn't pull the trigger on Dean Evison too early this season. It turns out they may not have done it early enough, but the Blue Jackets are right there in the thick of things, and I think they're heading into this trade deadline thinking about kind of keeping the band together rather than adding a new lead singer. Yeah. Okay.
What about, you mentioned Boston, and I look at that division. Where do you come out of the Penguins and the Islanders? The Penguins, they cut a real tough stretch now, and there's no Sidney Crosby. Are they catchable?
Yeah. I think they are catchable, but, I think I was one of the few guys, too, at the beginning of the season that was just not buying all of this lottery stuff with the Penguins. Come on, look at that team. Any team that starts with Crosby, Malkin, you go, I have a hard time believing that team's this. The other thing from the Blue Jackets' perspective, and this may be frustrating for them, one of the guys that's really pushed them here lately is Igor Chinnikov, who just could not find a spot here under Dean Evison. I think maybe the Blue Jackets wish they'd waited a week or two to make that trade until after they hired the new coach, and maybe they wouldn't have made the trade then. But Chinnikov's been a real boost to them. He's given them a second line. This team, the Penguins, have played in the past pretty good without Crosby. They rally the troops pretty good there. That's a character team. I think any team with Crosby on it as the captain is going to be that. So I hate to bank against them. I look at the Islanders and I think, and not that any of this is not deserved by them, but you wonder if when the luck is, and it's not even the luck, I hate to even say it that way, but they've had so many overtime successes, so many comebacks, including against the Blue Jackets. You just wonder if the magic is going to fizzle at some point. Where's Montreal at in this? I think they're more catchable than people realize. And the Bruins, again, 3 points up. They had a hell of a game. Columbus and Boston did in Boston coming out of the break. Those next 2 games against them here between the end of the season could be absolutely monumental and a rematch of that 2019 second round series.
Yeah. So lastly, you mentioned forwards up front for the Blue Jackets, so maybe kind of a quieter deadline. How important is it for that organization just to get in the playoffs?
Well, I think it's huge, Jason. I really do. And I hear people say, well, they're not a cup contender, sell. I think getting into the playoffs is an educational process for young players. I think the bigger issue here, too, is they've got to figure out what they have or don't have in Kent Johnson, Dmitry Voronkov, Cole Sillinger, these young guys. Sillinger plays a really key role for them. His game isn't just judged by goals and points. I get it. But Voronkov's had a very consistent start to his career in that he tends to run out of gas towards the end of every season. And they've worked with that. They've tried to get it going. They're trying to avoid it again this time, but he's back on the fourth line. That's not ideal for him. Kent Johnson's been a healthy scratch, 23 goals, had a breakout season last year, they thought. They have to reevaluate these guys, I think, and see what they really feel like they have in him. All signs are that they're not moving Kent Johnson. So, you know, I think there's that to consider. But I think for all of these guys to get a taste of what that next level is like is going to be really, really important, because people forget how young this team is, how green this team is. Fantilli's he's their number one center. And there are tough lessons there, but none tougher than in the playoffs. And just to show them that and to see what that looks like, I think that could be very, very important for the development of the team and each of those players individually.
Porty, as always, buddy, great stuff. We appreciate it. Enjoy the next few hours leading up to the trade deadline. As always, we appreciate it.
It'll be awesome, man. Thanks for having me, Jason.
You betcha. That's Aaron Portzline joining us from Columbus. So he doesn't think Boone Jenner, Charlie Coyle, he doesn't think any of those guys are getting moved. He thinks they're going to maybe add someone, maybe a Nick Foligno. Now, what about goaltending? That would be that's maybe the wild card for the Blue Jackets. Quick break. Yaremchuk joins us next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
A pizza from Papa John's is already pretty great, but you know what's even better? 2 pizzas from Papa John's. For a limited time, get a medium one-topping pizza for only $6 when you order any large specialty pizza at regular menu price. Whether you're feeding your family, your team, or yourself, get your next meal from your locally owned and operated Papa John's with a $6 one-top medium when you order any large specialty at regular menu price. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Hey, Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Is your digestive system crying for help? NACA Nutri Probiotic Veggie Caps fight bloating and constipation, strengthen immunity, and can even aid in weight management. Find them at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade: safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
NHL Star Sticks are back at McDonald's, and we're celebrating by going bigger.
Make that smaller, way smaller than ever before.
Collect the set and get one of 7 mini sticks with every NHL Star Sticks meal. Featuring McDavid, Matthews, Quinn Hughes, McCarr, Celebrini, Reinhardt, and Montembeault. So get yours while they last. 1 stick per meal purchase. Limited time at participating Canadian restaurants.
Jan, I'm getting expressions and images to frame my hockey card collection in the man cave.
Perfect. I'll come with you and bring our wedding photos. For sports memorabilia and family treasures, think Expressions and Images, your local custom framer since 91. You name it, we frame it.
You matter. Your mental health matters, and you're braver than you think. Not Alone is an organization focused on creating a space of acceptance and support through tough, meaningful conversation. Use code 1440 for 15% off at notalonecode.com. It's okay to not be okay.
Salvi Group is celebrating 50 years of building homes and communities, and we want to share the celebration with you. For a limited time during our 50/50 event, you'll enjoy 50% off select packages. That's special savings, select upgrades, and added value, all designed just for you. Build new or move in sooner at Hillshire. There's never been a better time to call Hillshire home. Celebrate with Salvi Group and enjoy 50 years, 50% off. Visit Hillshire today. Salvi Group, 50 years of craftsmanship, quality, and commitment.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. For a limited time, get your favorite large specialty pizza from Papa John's for only $19.99. Use code LSPEC at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$327 as we return on a busy Wednesday leading up to a trade deadline. Of course, this Friday will be loads of fun. Lots of talk some big trades today, though. Parayko, well, it was reported earlier. I haven't seen anything official, but they usually those guys don't report if they don't think it's that close. But Parayko going to Buffalo, Mackenzie Weegar going to Utah. Very interesting. Very interesting. If you missed it earlier, Tyler Myers is headed to Dallas for a second and a fourth round pick. Parayko had Radim Mertka, who was the defenseman for Seattle Thunderbirds, taken 9th overall last year, as well as a future first and probably something else just to make the money work. Parayko has a $6.5 million cap hit. And Weegar, no names have been mentioned on what's going back there. Utah does have a boatload of young players that they can move. I know they have a Ginla. Now, here's my only thing on that. If I'm Jerome McGinley and I'm working for the Calgary Flames, do I want my son in the organization? Is that really the best thing? I would have some reservations. There's a pretty big shadow to have to try to play out of. A, just to play anywhere in the NHL, but B, to play in the city where your dad starred, one of the greatest players I've ever had. I don't know if I'd want to put my son in that situation if I was him, but we'll see. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. As it's time to go in the room, brought to you by Action Electrical, 53 years and running, one of the most diversified electrical contractors in the province. If you're looking for a gig, they're hiring. Go to actionelectrical.net. As Tyler Yaremchuk from Oilers Nation and Daily Faceoff joins us. Ty, how you doing?
I'm doing good. We got some spicy deals coming down the pipe today.
Oh, yeah. Let's start. Parayko to Buffalo. I got to see what the full trade is yet, but the Sabres blue line could have Dahlin, Power, Byram, Samuelson, and Parayko if they don't move any of those guys out in the deal. And if Radim Mertka and a first is involved, there's no chance, I think, Owen Power's involved in that trade. So that's a pretty big decor. And all those guys are left shots. And that's what makes the Parayko addition huge for me if I'm Buffalo.
Yeah, you can see why it makes a ton of sense for Buffalo. I'll give St. Louis a lot of credit, though. If the return is Merchka, who, again, we're talking about a top 10 pick here, Merchka and a first. I know sometimes a first-round pick can just be a mystery box or whatever, but still, for a St. Louis team who's trying to retool and rebuild here, to get two premium assets for a defenseman who's in his 30s, who, listen, I really like Colton Parayko. I can totally understand why Buffalo's doing this. I'm a little bit nervous at how that contract is going to age, but I think something that we're going to see, and this is something I was going to bring up in regards to like the Connor Garland trade talks, and it's like, you know, the reported prices for him. It's like, this is a middle six guy whose 6 year, $6 million extension hasn't even kicked in yet. I think a lot of teams are looking at some of these contracts in the $6 to $7 million range and being like, you know, we know it's not a flat cap world anymore. We know the cap is going to keep shooting up. So we don't mind if a contract that's $6 million right now, yeah, maybe it might not age well, but in 3-4 years, cap will keep shooting up. Who cares? So I think what we're seeing is teams not afraid to take on contracts that I think 2-3 years ago, they would have been more hesitant to take on.
It's true. Now let's get to the orders last night. And Jake Wallman got sat down for the third period. And Wallman said, hey, you know what, man, it's frustrating. You'd like to be on the ice, especially when you were a reason they were down. He admitted he didn't play well. It was directly a result of 2 goals against. And so he gets a seat in the third period. And I will say, because I've been pretty hard on him for a while, Darnell Nurse had a really good game last night.
Yeah, I thought Darnell Nurse had a solid game. The Wallman thing, I mean, he's just a shell of the player that the Oilers had during the Stanley Cup playoffs last year. Like, I don't know if the injury has really dogged him that much or put him that far behind the 8 ball, but the fact that he's just been so bad, it's mind-blowing, and it totally changes the complexion of this blue line. You know, I had someone today who commented on my show and said, you know, it's kind of ridiculous that a guy like Jake Wallman feels the effects of his bad play and has to take a seat, and there's this level of accountability with him, and people go, oh, why don't they show that same accountability when Darnell Nurse plays poorly and all that, which I guess maybe I understand, but I also think there's a little bit of an element here, like, you know, you're married to Darnell Nurse for the rest of this season and probably beyond. That's me saying if there's going to be a move, it's going to be in the summer. You kind of want these guys to play out of their slumps a little bit, which is what made the Wallman move yesterday surprising, but deserved nonetheless. Like, again, this isn't a one-game struggle for Wallman. This wasn't 2 bad periods. It was 2 bad periods on top of a game on Saturday against San Jose when he was brutal as well. And it's been weeks of subpar play. So maybe the coaching staff just knows that, you know, he'll respond better to being sat down like that than maybe a Darnell Nurse would. So they made that decision. And yeah, I think I saw he was paired with Murphy, right? So it doesn't seem like they're going to bury him on the third pairing for the next 3 games. Like, they're going to give him a chance to play out of this now.
Yeah, well, it's interesting in regards to Nurse, because a lot of people say, oh, you know what, Nurse is dragging down Wallman. And I think a lot of people were overlooking. Well, Wallman, there's no doubt in my mind, he's still nicked up. Because he even said, he goes, yeah, am I dealing with something small? Sure. But I'm capable of playing, and I got to play better. And I think it's a little bit of a wake-up call here from the coach to say, hey, man, like, you gotta get focused here. Guys will play a little bit nicked up. If you're good enough to play, then play. And if you're not good enough to play, then don't play. And, you know, they'll kind of go from there. But it's kind of like why yesterday I saw these people, oh, Darnell Nurse is getting traded. Darnell Nurse is not getting traded before the trade deadline, people. He has a full new movement clause. And he has his 3rd son who's less than a week old. You think he's moving? Like, you can't overlook the human element of the world. And when you control your destiny, you're not disrupting your family or your wife when she's recovering from birth 4 days later. It's not happening.
No, I'm with you 100%. It's not happening before this deadline. And I know not this summer, but next summer, his no move or his no trade turns into a 10-team no trade list. I'll say that maybe there's an opportunity this summer again. Like, if St. Louis is able to offload Colton Parayko, much better defenseman. This is not a linear comparison, but like, that's a contract that I kind of thought 12 to 18 months ago, I was like, ooh, they might have a tough time getting out of that. The fact they've been able to get a bunch of value for it in Merchka and a first is like, okay, maybe this summer there would be a team with a bunch of cap space who goes, yeah, like, we'll take a shot on Darnell Nurse, or we'll do some sort of a swap where you take back a maybe not quite as bad contract and give us an asset, whatever it is. I think this summer, maybe there's room or a space to go to Darnell Nurse and say, hey, a year from now, your trade list opens up to 10 teams. Do you just want to get ahead of it now? Do you want to give us 2-3 teams this summer that you would waive to? And maybe we can just, again, try to split up earlier than this trade list kicks in. So this summer, we can have the conversation, but I'm with you. All the Nurse stuff right now feels very premature.
Yeah, it's simply not happening. What do you think the Oilers, if any, acquire between now and Friday?
I think at the bare minimum, they're going to acquire a centerman. And then we'll see if maybe they get out of the Mangiapane money in full, then maybe there's room to go nibble on a winger somewhere. I sent out the tweet and I got a mixed reaction from Oilers fans, but the Leafs are sitting both Bobby McMann and Scott Lawton tonight for roster related reasons. 2 guys who we presume are going to be sold off, both bottom 6 centers. I'll be honest, I think I like Scott Lawton more than I like Nicholas Roy. He skates a little bit better. He's got a little bit more offense to his game. I know there's the right shot thing that everyone loves with Roy, but I don't know. I think I like Lawton as just a pure player more than Nicholas Roy. That'd be a duo I'd be interested in. Maybe Stan Bowman thinks he can do some one-stop shopping, because if you do the math, like Lawton at 1.5 plus McMahon, so that's 2.85. If you get out of Mangiapane's money, you're like right on the edge of being able to squeeze that all in. You actually could squeeze it in because you could send down Szymanski.
Yeah, but you got to. What are you shipping off to make that trade?
Yeah, I mean, like, again, someone, maybe it's not even the Leafs, someone has to take Mangiapane, and then the fact you're getting, you know, one of the more premium rentals on the market in Bobby McMann and another good piece in Lawton, probably a first round pick involved and then something else on top of it, I'd imagine.
Yeah. That would be interesting. Because I just look at Bobby McMahon and I'm like, where does he fit on the Oilers roster now? That's a significant upgrade.
Well, I mean, you could maybe lengthen your lineup a little bit. Like Liam and I had the conversation today of like, okay, do you want to try Nuge back at 3C? And again, Adam Henrique's here, so maybe you don't need this much center depth. But what if McMahon was a fit up with McDavid and Hyman, and then you had a second line that's Draisaitl, Podkolzin, and Roslovic, and then a third line that's centered by Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and a fourth line that's centered by Scott Laughton? Like, you're starting to build a pretty good center core there, and you have more versatile pieces. Like Laughton's spent time this year on the wing. I like McMahon just because he's an even strength scorer. He's a guy who's produced a lot at 5-on-5. I think if you go back to the beginning of last season, he would be 4th on the Oilers in 5-on-5 goals in that time period. So I like 5-on-5 producers. I like guys who play with speed and bring a bit of size, especially come playoff time. Like, I think McMahon could have the similar impact that a Podkolzin has on this lineup. And again, if it shifts everyone down a few spots in your lineup and you can start to build a bottom six that, I mean, listen, right now the Oilers would love a bottom six that can consistently break even. But what if you could build a bottom six just by pushing guys down a rung that actually outscores the other team and is actually a net positive for you? Like, that might be what they need to go on another run this year.
Yeah, I look at a few things on the Oilers, and like as far as Nuge at 3C, the reason I don't think it's plausible is when I watched the game and then I went over the shift charts and everything, because he's on your first unit power play and he's one of your top penalty killers, he's not really your 3C because he's not going to get enough shifts with his line mates. And I think the only way Nuge will become a 3C down the road is when he's taken off one of the two units. And there's no way they're disrupting their power play. It's the best in the league right now, and Nuge is pretty key part of it, right? And so I guess they could take him off to penalty kill. And that's the only way to do it. You couldn't do it. You can't have him play 3C and be the first on those other two units. It just doesn't work. And then you're going to play him too much, and then he won't be helpful. So I think the Nuge 3C thing isn't really feasible until they're going to plan to remove him off of one of those special teams units. And I don't see them doing that during the season.
Yeah, and again, with McMahon, like maybe there's a scenario where they look at him and go, hey, he's a guy who scores a lot at 5-on-5. Let's put him on the third line with somebody. Maybe that's a way to lengthen your lineup. I'm not totally sold on him being like a true play driver or anything like that, but I don't know. What if it's like a McMahon, Laughton, Savoy third line, and they find a way to chip in a little bit of offense while not giving up a ton? Like, I don't know. I've always really liked Bobby McMahon. These last couple of years, he's been a solid 5-on-5 guy in Toronto. And the other thing too, like for the impact I think he could have, and that cap hit being $1.35 million, like the Oilers have to kind of be shopping in that kind of range.
Yeah, we'll see. We've heard that they want to take big swings. I probably don't doubt that they do. They're in the win now mode, and you know what? That they've improved their organizational depth with some players that, like a guy like Szymanski, that's found money, man. That's better than a second round draft pick, because a second round draft pick isn't in the NHL. You hope he becomes the NHL. Szymanski is. There's, like that's a really good find. And, well, some of these other guys like Yaremchuk, if he stays healthy, maybe he's a player down the road. Obviously, I think Matt Savoy, they gave up Ryan McLeod, but Matt Savoy's coming, and that's kind of what they wanted. Ike Howard, still, I still got to see from Ike Howard if he's an NHL player yet or not. I hope he is, but I'm not a guy who's like, oh, this guy's a lock as an NHLer. I hope he is. I don't know, but and Marjala is the other guy, Marjala, that no one's really talking about, that I know they're high on, man. You wait till that guy has another summer of training and getting stronger, like he could be someone down the road. So they've got some pieces that they could move out to bring in guys that can help them right now that aren't future draft picks.
Yeah, I agree with you on that front. I know, a lot of people love Quinn Hutson and the numbers he's put up down in Bakersfield. I kind of say, like, hey, remember, he's 24. This isn't a guy who's having this sort of dominant run at the American League as a 19-year-old, and it's like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. Like, Quinn Hutson's a little bit older. He should be having success at the American League level, but that's another guy that honestly, I'm curious how other teams would view him and what kind of value they'd put on him. But along the lines of found money, like even if another team says, hey, no, we don't want a second round pick, we want Quinn Hutson instead. But this is a guy you signed out of college last year. Like that's found money. That's a found asset. And that's where the Oilers need to be really, really smart. here is going out, or whether it's college, whether it's European free agents, like finding these guys around the edges that can kind of help replenish your system, because I think there's going to be a lot more years like the 2026 draft we have coming up where there's no first. They have their second and third right now. I would imagine at least one of those picks is going out the door in the next 48 hours. Like if you're only going to be picking 3 times in every draft, you need to find other ways to get young, cost-controlled talent in your lineup. And to the Oilers' credit, they've done a really good job of that over the last 12 to 18 months.
I'm going to throw out a name for you, especially with the Curtis Lazar injury, even though they're different players. But when I look at Edmonton, there's still an element that I think they lack. And there's a guy out there, if they wanted to do it, who's a pending free agent. The guy's got 11 goals in 61 games in limited minutes. He's physical. He's aggressive. AJ Greer.
Ooh, I thought you were maybe going to go in a bit of a different direction here, especially with the Florida thing, because I had Merrick on today, and he was like, hey, would the Oilers have any interest in someone like an Evan Rodriguez? He's got 1 more year, $3 million. AJ Greer, I have time for a guy like that. Again, you talk about your bottom 6, like having some amount of an identity. I think back to that game earlier this season when the Oilers played the Flames, and it was, Ryan Lomberg and those guys on the Flames just like had their way with the Oilers and made like a legitimate impact on that hockey game. I was like, man, when was the last time you saw an Oilers bottom 3rd or 4th line go out and have that kind of an impact on the game? And I think someone like AJ Greer could give you games like that where like his physicality, he's noticeable, he's getting under the other team's skin. His cost is also very easy to fit in. So I don't mind AJ Greer. I don't mind Evan Rodriguez. And the other name that kind of popped up today that I'm mildly interested in Washington is Brandon Duhaime, $1.1 million. That's another guy like energy, can play a role for you in the bottom 6. I would love to see it be a Bobby McMahon type trade. I'm not holding my breath on that front. I think it's going to be more nibbling around the edges. And if that's the route they go, Greer, Duhaime, guys like that, sign me up.
Oh, hey, man, I just look at AJ Greer. He's played in the Stanley Cup Finals. He's won, and you know what? Now he didn't play big minutes, and that's the other thing though that I like. This guy knows how to contribute in less minutes because your 4th line isn't going to play a ton. That's just a fact. So I'd rather get a guy who I know knows the role, knows how to play the role, will accept the role, and can excel in limited minutes.
Yeah, and that's something I've started looking at too when I'm like evaluating players and how they could fit on the Oilers. Like, I've seen a bunch of people bring up the name Jake DeBrusk, and obviously we're in a different area of player than the other guys we're talking about. And they go, oh, look, he can score. And I go, yeah, well, he can score when he gets power play one time. And this year in Vancouver, he's playing over 17 minutes a night. What happens if you bring Jake DeBrusk to Edmonton and he gets no power play time and he gets 14 minutes a night? Jake DeBrusk doesn't score you 28 goals a season with no power play time and 14 minutes a night. Like there are guys who, and I mean, Adam Henrique is probably a good example of that in hindsight, right? Everyone looked at his numbers in Anaheim and it was like, whoa, this guy's a lock to score you 20 every year and all this stuff. And it's like, well, yeah, he was a lock to score 20 when he played on the first line as a left winger and got a bunch of power play time, but he comes to Edmonton. And again, I won't say struggled to adapt to his role because there's still a lot of things that I like in Adam Henrique's game. He's a good penalty killer, all of that stuff. But I think that's an important thing you bring up is like, look at the role these guys play on their current teams. Don't just go out there and, maybe this is actually in a weird way me making the case against Bobby McMahon, but like, don't go look at a guy who's playing top line minutes somewhere else and be like, oh, he can sit on the 3rd line and give us 20 goals a season. Like that's just not how it works, especially in Edmonton.
Yes, 100%. So he's a guy that I would be, I'd have a lot of time for if I'm the Edmonton Oilers. I think it, like I spoke to Connor Murphy today, and I love what Murphy brings in front of the net. Something the Oilers lack a lot of. And, he talked about how he learned it and where it came from and why he thinks it's an important part of his game. And AJ Greer brings something, and it's infectious, man. When you have more guys who do it, it's you have Podkolzin on one line, you have Frederick on one line, you have Greer on one line, you have Kapanen, now you got Hyman. You mix guys in, and all of a sudden you can come with a more tenacious approach to the game, shift by shift. And I know that Greer is going to play limited minutes. That's great. I want a guy who can excel in limited minutes, and he's done it.
And again, maybe on a game-to-game basis in the regular season, you don't feel the effects of it all that much, but you get into a best of 7, and Edmonton felt the effect of it last year against the Florida Panthers, I think. Like, it was such a struggle for the Oilers to deal with that Florida forecheck. And then also going back the other way, Edmonton couldn't get the puck to the middle of the ice because Florida was just all over them. And it's like maybe early on in the regular season, you don't see it. In a 7-game series, if you can litter your lineup with guys like you just listed, you're going to wear down the other team and you're going to force some mistakes. You will get goals out of stuff like that.
Ty, should be fun, man. We appreciate it. Have yourself an awesome day.
Yeah, you do. Thanks, Riggs. There
you go. That's Tyler Yaremchuk from Oilers Nation and Daily Faceoff. Take a quick break. We got Ritch Winter join us after 3 o'clock. We'll get to 5 questions and more. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Whether it's a house, a gas station, an apartment complex, or any new building going up above ground, the work always starts below ground. And that's where you'll find GS Construction. GS Construction ensures the first step, relocating utilities, installing new ones, and building the underground systems, is taken to make progress possible. But the work can't start without you. GS Construction is currently on the lookout for experienced top men, pipe layers, and operators. To apply, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Booster Juice is going crazy for hazelnuts.
No, not crazy. Nuts.
Booster Juice is going bananas for hazelnuts.
I mean, there are bananas in smoothies, but that's not the point.
Banana juice is booster for hazelnuts.
What? Just stop.
Booster Juice is going nuts for hazelnut. Introducing the Nutty Monkey Smoothie, Holy Hazelnut Acai Bowl, and Nutty Booster Ball, all made with rich, creamy hazelnut spread. Try them today, only at Booster Juice. Canadian-born, blending since 1999.
Support your circulatory health with NACA Platinum Nattokinase. This powerful enzyme cleans your arteries, helps with varicose veins, promotes improved blood flow, and more. Find NACA Platinum Nattokinase at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
A Saskatchewan boy who grew up loving and playing sports. At least we think he grew up. Listen to Kevin Carius weekday mornings from 7 to 11 on Edmonton's home for sports. Sports 1440.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. March Madness is finally here. If you've been waiting to get into a new or used vehicle, now is the time. This is a mega sale, plus the grand opening of our all-new Autoplex, a massive indoor showroom. No iPads, no patio sets, no trips to Vegas. Just a good deal. So stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
Oil Kings Hockey at Rogers Place is family fun that's second to none. And this Sunday afternoon, the team gives back to you.
The Fan Appreciation Game is back, one of the biggest games of the season.
Fans in attendance receive a scratch and win ticket with thousands of instant win prizes up for grabs.
Plus, all the Family Fun Sunday face painting, bouncy castles, and Calmont Kids food combos for $10 or less.
Edmonton Oil Kings, Prince Albert Raiders, Fan Appreciation Game. Family Fun Sunday at 4.
Great seats at Rogers Place start at only $20 at oilkings.ca.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork, made in Canada, made for Canada, where extreme isn't theoretical. Find your solution at cantork.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Going to be really busy for hockey fans as you wait for the NHL trade deadline. We are creeping up on 45 hours away from the trade deadline, Friday at 1 p.m. Edmonton time, which we all know sneaks in a little bit later on. So we'll get to all of that and more on Friday. We'll have a special extra in-depth analysis leading up to the trade deadline here on Sports 1440. So you want to tune into that, as well as YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Should be loads and loads of fun. It's time now for 5 questions brought to you by The Brick. And life is more fun when you get a good sleep. Need a new mattress? You need a new bed? 50% off right now at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Jason, question number 1. You discussed it a little bit here on the show, but Jake Wallman benched last night. What do you think his biggest issue has been so far this season?
Well, he's dealt with some nagging injuries for sure. And I do think that that's holding him back. I don't think he's been as competitively engaged as we've seen in the past. And I'm sure that's probably part mental, maybe a little bit physical. And so, because trust me, when you're not 100%, you know it. And at times that can impact, how you attack in a battle and how hard you go. So I do wonder about that with him. And I think maybe they're like, okay, we think you're cleared to play. Let's go. Let's up the intensity.
Yeah, I'm with you. Maybe just consistency too, playing on one side and get going, kind of building that up a little bit. Hopefully Connor Murphy helps with that, bringing in the right-hand defenseman. But yeah, I kind of think injury is the big one. And if he can stay healthy and get that confidence back, hopefully it gets going for him and helps with the Oilers. Now, question number 2 for you. If you were ranking the top Oilers this season, where would you have Evan Bouchard slotted?
Ooh. Oh. Yeah, it's a good question. Bouchard's had a really good year. And he's right in there. I don't know, I know McDavid has the most points, but McDavid didn't have a great start. Right? And lately been on the ice for way too many goals against. It's just a fact. So yeah, Draisaitl, McDavid, Bouchard, 1, 2, 3, probably depends on the day who's 1, who's 2, and 3 this year.
I'm with you. Yeah, and it's hard to put him above McDavid and Draisaitl for all they do, but he's been really good this year. It's going back to, November. So to me, it's a no doubter. He's top 3. I'd probably put up 2 at best, though. Number 3 for you. We saw the Stars bring over Tyler Myers from Vancouver. When you look at that division, Avs, Stars, Wild, how would you rank it 1 through 3 when we get to the playoffs, obviously knowing that things can still change?
Go ahead.
I'm going to go with the Avs at the top spot. Just, with the star power they do have and what they can do. Something about the Minnesota Wild. I just, they're bringing in players. They're a little bit pesky. And we've seen the Stars, and they've been beat before by the Oilers. I guess maybe we've seen their weaknesses. Not to say that it's ever in the first round, though. It's later on in the playoffs. But I'll go Avs, Wild, Stars.
I really like Dallas right now. They've won 10 in a row. They got a lot of guys going. They've got a really good mix of different types of skill in how they can attack you, from Robertson to Rantanen to Johnson, Ruppe Hintz, Miro Heiskanen. My God, I really like that team. Thomas Harley on the back end. I'm a big fan of his. Esa Lindell. I like their top 3 defense better than either Colorado or Minnesota. And I still might like Jake Oettinger ahead of both those teams, goalies in the playoffs. So I'm going to take Dallas 1. I'm going to go Colorado 2. I'm going Minnesota 3 because of their centers.
All right. Question number 4. After being released yesterday, where do you think Kyler Murray will play next season?
Oh, God. That's a really good question, man. I guess I'm going to say Miami. They're getting rid of their quarterback. Is this going to be an unofficial trade? So I'll say Miami.
It's a little bit crazy, but I'm going to say the Cleveland Browns. And they have a really good running attack. The offensive weapons aren't great. I know a couple really good tight ends, but that defense can be solid. And, Kyler Murray, to me, would be an upgrade over Shedeur or Dylan Gabriel or Deshaun Watson. So, I'd rather live in Miami, no doubt about it. But I think that team is going to be an absolute tire fire with all the players that they've released. The Browns will be a little bit more competitive, so I'll say Cleveland, although I don't know if I'd want to be there. Final question for you. It's National Snack Day. So give me your top 3 snacks.
Ooh, good question. Like my top 3 snacks. Well, see, that's the thing. Is the top 3 snacks that I like are the ones that I actually eat? Because like my top 3 snacks is probably still dinosaurs, but after I read up on all the crap in the food color, and I try to avoid it as much as I can now. So I'll go with chocolate covered raisins. Big fan. I'm really into mango slices in a bag right now that I've gotten from Costco. They're unreal. I'll go with them. And homemade chocolate chip cookies, because you can make them easy. You got them, put them in the jar. I got them there. I like it. So I'll go with those 3.
I'll go number 3, sour soothers. Just any, sour candy of any sort is always going to be good. So that'll be number 3. Number 2, Cool Ranch Doritos. And then number 1, anything Reese's peanut butter cup style. Any variation of that, I'm happy. So those would be my top 3. A little variety, one from each of the categories.
I like it. Hey, Gregor, how could you honestly think that they'd want AJ Greer after what he said about McDavid in the bar, potentially trying to hurt guys on the ice every time they played him? Who did AJ Greer intentionally try to hurt? Honestly. Zach Kassian swung his stick and clubbed Sam Gagner. He was beloved in the Oilers dressing room when he came in. I don't think players hold a grudge like that at all. Again, who did Greer injure? Who did he hurt? Anyone? So I don't buy that. I don't. You want to win. And AJ Greer is hard to play against. AJ Greer takes no prisoners when he plays. You'd rather have that guy on your team. I don't think it'd be much of an issue at all, but that's just me. 3:59. We'll come back. We get to the business of sport with Richard. Oh, we'll talk about the business and how you want to. I'll tell you the number one reason why an organization is well, it's not the number one, but when an organization's dysfunctional, there's lots of different layers to the dysfunction. Lots of decisions that make no sense and just lead to things not being great. So we'll get to that in a sec. Here's Connor Halley, a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. If you are in need of a vehicle repair, tires change and more, check it out, fountaintire.com.
The Sports 1440 update.
Per reports, the Buffalo Sabres acquiring Colton Parayko from the St. Louis Blues for defenseman Radim Murka and a first-round pick. Still waiting on that to be finalized. And Elliot Friedman reporting Utah Calgary closing on a deal to send Mackenzie Weegar to the Mammoth pending his approval. The Dallas Stars will acquire defenseman Tyler Myers from the Canucks for a second-round pick in 2027 and a fourth-rounder in 2029. The Canucks also retaining half of Myers' salary, and the San Jose Sharks reaching a 5-year contract extension with Kiefer Sherwood, carrying an AAV of $5.75 million. On the ice tonight, a bit of a lighter one. You got the Red Wings and the Knights, Maple Leafs in Jersey, Canucks taking on the Canes, Islanders meet the Ducks, and the Kraken hosting the St. Louis Blues in the association. Starting at 5, Knicks host the Thunder, Hornets in Boston, Sixers taking on the Jazz, Trailblazers meet the Grizz. You got the Bucks and the Hawks and the Pacers taking on the Clippers. Afternoon action in the AJ today in overtime. Calgary and Camrose tied at 3 apiece. In the PWHL this evening, you've got Seattle and Ottawa. Puck drop just after 5. And from the NFL, Chiefs sending all-pro cornerback Trent McDuffie to the Rams with the 29th overall pick, along with a 5th and 6th rounder this year and a 3rd rounder next year. And the New England Patriots informing wide receiver Stephon Diggs they'll release him at the start of the league here next week. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, it's another edition of the Business of Sport with NHL player agent Ritch Winter. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray Radio Station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
You've got a go-to coffee spot.
a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need, Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Day or night, tasting just so right. You can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle noodle.
They're not just a grocery store. They're a butcher, a baker, a cafe, deli, rotisserie pizza, and restaurant, all under one roof. Loca Quality Market does food differently with 2 locations to serve you. Edmonton and Sherwood Park. Visit loca.ca.
He's a legend in the booth and a master on the mic. Low Tide brings the banter weekdays from noon to 2. Sports 1440 is where Edmonton talks sports. Get in the game. Text 833-401-1440.
Who's that working on the underground utilities over there? All-Star Construction, that's who. What about the street lighting? Yep, All-Star Construction. And the directional drilling, hydrovacking, neighborhood renewal, and telecommunication work? Yep. Since 2009, All-Star Construction has been doing all that and more, shaping and building Edmonton communities for land developers all around Edmonton. That's what All-Star Construction is all about.
Is your digestive system crying for help? NACA Nutri Probiotic Veggie Caps fight bloating and constipation, strengthen immunity, and can even aid in weight management. Find them at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca,
Gregor,
the new
Connor,
e-commerce website
Halley.
for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the Power Play 24/7 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the
Wednesday.
best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at ewell.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power.
As,
Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Measles is very dangerous during pregnancy, increasing the risk of many severe health-related complications. If you're planning to become pregnant, make sure you have received 2 doses of the vaccine at least 1 month before conception. Don't get measles, get immunized. Visit alberta.ca/measles to find out if you're up to date and what to do if you're not. A message from the Government of Alberta.
Every Selly. The place to cheer on your favorite team is Selly's Sports Bar and Lounge. Never a bad seat in the house, with all games on tons of big screens. And Selly's menu, top shelf. Plus, check out the game night food and drink features. And don't miss the excitement of Oilers watch parties all season long. Experience Selly's Sports Bar and Lounge at all 3 Century Casino locations: Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile.
Every day is game day at Century Casino.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio, from weekend warriors to professional athletes, kids playing soccer to grandparents in the garden, rotator cuff tears and tendonitis to post-surgical knees and hips. We fix your body. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Just after 4 o'clock. How are you? Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Sports 1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. Thanks as always for listening and watching the show. It's brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province at playalberta.ca. Still waiting on exact confirmation on the trades. It sounds like Parayko's going to Buffalo. Mackenzie Weegar is being presented with a trade that will send him to Utah. Of course, both guys have no movement clauses, so they need to sign off on it. But I think when you get this far down the process and everything's there, Mackenzie Weegar, actually in an interview with Eric Francis that I read earlier this morning, had said, hey, man, I understand where everything's at. I probably wouldn't slam the door on a trade. You're going to go to Utah, world-class organization from the ownership down, city, everything else. So I think there's lots of reasons why I could see him going there. I'm Jason Gregor. We welcome in Ritch Winter as we get to the business of sport. Rich, how you doing?
Awesome, man. Had a great week so far. Looking forward to off to Russia next week. So we'll do two Wednesdays now. We'll do from St. Petersburg.
Really?
If they don't shoot me down, which every general manager in the league is probably pining for, potentially.
How many clients do you have in the KHL right now?
8.
8.
Most of the highest paid ones, I'm proud to say. But I promised, we had a really Rocco Grimaldi, who's American, good, solid, really skilled player. I had a long talk with Rocco about the importance because, he's making $300-400 in the American Hockey League. He's going to make a couple million there, and I said to him at one point, I realize your wife's pregnant with twins, but there's going to be a point in time when those twins get accepted to Harvard and you're going to want to pay for it. And so after a lot of talking and reflecting, they decided to go, and Abby's an incredible trooper. She went 8 months pregnant to Russia and had her babies in St. Petersburg.
Really?
And what she told me shouldn't shock anybody that's lived in Alberta. She said both her and Byron Fraser's wife had their third child in Russia last year. And both of them said best facilities, best experience, best quality physicians they've ever had in a birth of theirs. And so Rocco now has a couple of Russians in the family. So I promised that if they went, I would come and see them, and the season's over in a week. So that became the last option became next week. So to make on my commitment. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm a little nervous, obviously, about the bombs flying around all over the place in that area with the Iranians hitting Cyprus, I guess, yesterday. But I think they're friendly with the Turks, and you have to fly through Turkey to get to Russia. You got to go to Istanbul. So I'm hoping we'll be okay.
Now, a few things to get to. We were going to have Sam Carrick. Sam, of course, had agreed to come on the show today because we're going to talk about getting traded at the deadline and everything. And then at the last minute, the Rangers axed it. They basically have this policy now about I don't get it.
Don't get it either.
Not doing media, especially over something. We weren't even going to talk to him about the Rangers. Like, what's there to talk about? Hey, your team's terrible. You're in 30th place. Like, it would be a one question conversation.
I felt like telling them, we're in Edmonton. We're not that interested in what the Rangers are not doing this year. But we're going to talk about, him and his brothers, their business in the maple syrup business, which is really interesting. I was going to bring in some pancakes. We're going to have a little bit of fun. It's actually my grandchildren tell me it's the best maple syrup they've ever had. So I don't know how you tell the difference, but apparently a wine aficionado can figure the difference between bottles of wine. And my kids have got a hankering for figuring out what the best maple syrup is. It would have been fun. So, but they decided last minute that he wasn't allowed to come.
which is very odd. Now, you've been doing this for many, many years. And so have I. There's only one organization that's ever done that.
I've never seen it anywhere.
And to me, like when I look at dysfunctional organizations, this is a small part of it, but all the little pieces add up. When you have to fill out a puzzle, it isn't just one piece. Wouldn't be called a puzzle, right? You need a lot of different ones. And to worry about stuff like that illustrates to me that you've got your focus in the wrong direction.
Oh yeah, it just seems like you don't trust your players. I would feel like I just feel uncomfortable. And I know Sam is a great team guy, so he just was quite willing to accede to the request. I'm sure he'll come on at another time. But it's not understandable. I don't like. I haven't had it explained to me why a player wouldn't be allowed to go on Spitting Chicklets or our show or whatever it is. It doesn't make any sense to me. I've never I'm actually surprised the Players Association hasn't stepped in, because it seems like, I mean, I'm going to Russia. I didn't expect to be exposed to being gagged here before I got out of the country.
Yeah, no, that's fair. So that's unfortunate. We were going to have Sam Carrick on, but he was going to join us for a segment or two later on in the program today. But it is, now you get down to the final 48 minutes, 48 hours, I should say, for trade deadline. And as an agent, actually, you're joking about a funny story, because and in hindsight, you're like, yeah, maybe it wasn't the rightest. You called one of your guys just out of the blue because you had to ask him a question. And he answers the phone like, dude, you can't just be calling me on the week of trade deadline without sending me a text. This is not about a trade. Pick up the phone.
Well, I'm not like,
because it shows, I think, for people that's how on edge some of the players are.
Oh yeah. Like it's Adam Ernie. So, and Adam won't mind me telling the story. I mean, Adam's gone through a tough time. I mean, 4 years ago, he's the leading scorer in the Detroit Red Wings, making $2.5 million plus. Then injuries have sort of taken their toll. He's back in Detroit. He's in Dallas. He's playing a role. He's very happy there. He's got 3 young children. I guess we have a new rule now. You text me if it's trade deadline week. You text me before you call to say it's about this, because he said, I came out of the shower the text, he said to me, like, is it urgent? I said, no, not really. And then I guess Adam and I have a new rule, but that is how on edge they are, because look, I mean, you go back to here. I mean, it was in some ways a really great story, because when Adam was here, that's when they had Campbell signed. Campbell's gone to the minors. Calvin Pickard was up playing well, which will happen again soon, as we know. And then Kenny came to me, Kenny Holland, and said, look, numbers are tight, cap's tight. I'm not going to I think we have to give Campbell a shot here. We've paid him a lot of money and give him a chance. I just want you to have a heads up that if we bring him up, I got to send Adam down. But he said, but I'm not doing it before Christmas.
Right.
So he said, we got the trade freeze, we got the break. So over the next 10 days, I just want you to pick up the phone, tell Adam he'll be here at home with his family, and but that's important. So he's gone through all of that. So you can imagine he's sitting in his stall. I just wasn't thinking, you're busy doing a bunch of stuff. I got this thing on my desk I got to call Adam about. I called him, and he was suicidal for a brief moment in time, so.
Yeah, because he's in Dallas, and obviously
loves it there.
Well, they've won 10 in a row. You don't want to leave. Like, it's funny. There's certain guys, if you're on a bad team, and your name's out there, you're kind of excited. Hey, you know what? Now, but not everybody, because it depends. Are your kids in school? Are they happy? There's lots of other factors involved. But those families do know that their job's a little bit different than the average person that you can get traded. Like, let's be honest, sports people, lawyers, teachers, mechanics. You don't get, if you're working at in Bob's garage, you don't get traded to Sal's garage without your choice, right? Like now you can choose to leave, right? Like lots of people. I worked in the oil field, and I saw a few guys who would literally leave and go work for the competition. It was their choice, right? You could do it. It's your choice. No problem. You could just up and leave. It's like you're a free agent all the time. If you want to, that's a great thing.
Believe me, if lawyers were, if someone tried to restrict the lawyers, they'd figure out how to deal with that pretty quickly.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But my point is, like, if, let's say you're working at, Lubbock LLP, and then all of a sudden Stillman LLP decides, guess what? We're going to trade. You're going to trade and go there. What?
Or you draft the lawyers out of the best law school in Canada. Go, buddy, you were the best in the class, man. I know, but you're going to love Swift Current.
Yeah.
It's going to be not bad. Yeah, but the guy last in the class is going to the best Toronto law firm. Well, I know that's all that was left when they picked.
Yeah. So now I do want to ask you this, because I've noticed something today. And so, and obviously the insiders, they work with teams, they work with the agents kind of on both sides, depending on the day. Yeah. And so they leak out the Colton Parayko. Here's the premise of the trade. He's going to Buffalo, but he has to waive it.
Yeah.
So now it's out there, right? Fans of both teams see it.
Yeah. They go.
Right. Everybody see, your teammates see it. Everybody sees it. And it's like, well, the players wait on it. Like, I probably wouldn't want that leaked out.
Well, and who leaked it out? I mean, did one of the teams leak it out?
Because if the team really wants a trade to happen,
right?
I could see them being the ones to do it, and vice versa.
It could be either team, because
maybe
the player, we don't know. I mean, Colton was represented by the firm that I started and sold to Jerry, but yeah, maybe St. Louis leaked it because he's waffling on the, saying yay to the trade request because he's got kids in school. Don't know his situation today. Or it was, I don't get it. Like, these guys are now, no one's in the news business anymore. Like qualitatively, it's all seemed to be like, if they get the trade details 15 seconds before the other guy, that's somehow incredible. Like, I don't get it. I'd like to know more. I just think reporting in sports has just become, for the most part, pretty useless, certainly in the short term. But I don't understand it. Like, I can tell you that if you watch July 1st and 3 or 4 of our clients sign, you will never hear about it before the team announces it. With exceptions, because quite often the people at the NHL offices, kind of loose lips there. So I'm sure, Drager and some of them, the rest of them have access to their cell numbers and stay in touch that way. I just don't get, like, why are we finding out 30 seconds earlier? Like, who cares?
Yeah. Hey, guys, teachers and mechanics don't make millions. Okay, but Daryl, here's the thing. I know people say that, but let's say you make $1 million and let's say you make 50 grand. And if all of a sudden you have to move by no choice of your own or quit your job, and you got to live in another city, and your kids are like, Dad, can you give me a hug goodnight? Well, no, I'm in another city. How much money, or what are you going to do? Are you going to send a virtual hug? Like, we have to be realistic here. Money doesn't solve everything. It's nice, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't solve everything. It doesn't take away, it doesn't make you less human because you have more money. It doesn't make you less human if you have less money either. My point is, it's difficult, and if it's a sudden change. So all I'm saying is, I don't love the fact from a player standpoint that there's leaks out that now it's up to the player to accept the trade. And to me, it's like, hey, we're making the deal. Somebody leaked it out to somebody. Mm-hmm. And I wonder what's the motivation.
Well, it's a real hollow argument this guy makes because, a teacher, makes 80, 100 grand a year for 50 years. And we might have a hockey player that makes $1 million for 2 or 3 years. Like, this job isn't that lucrative. Like, get a grip on this, because you look at the McDavid salaries, you look at other salaries at the top end. Sure. True. Absolutely true. But the guys at the bottom end, up and down, making a little bit of money, they might play for 5 or 6 years and come out with about 10% of a total player teacher's salary over the course of their career. It's a ridiculous argument. It's because the argument really only applies to a small group of the guys. It's not that lucrative. There's an awful lot of guys in the minor leagues, same number as in the NHL, making somewhere around 100 grand, making a teacher's salary. And they do that for 5 years, and then they have no education and no opportunity. So suck it up and recognize these guys. It's not as easy as it looks. And it's not as easy to be a teacher as it looks.
Oh, boy, dude, I couldn't be a teacher. Like, I'll say this. Lots of people would love to be a professional athlete. There's not a lot of people lining up. Oh, God, I wish I could be a teacher. Right? Like,
I'd be one of them,
a really hard job.
I'd be actually one of them. I really love kids, and I don't know how easy it is to motivate them. I think teaching is I think coaching, the more it's looked at, like, it's really interesting because when you think of teachers, Coach Wooden, who I was blessed to spend some time with when I was at UCLA, an amazing guy. I know a lot of listeners don't know, but the best coach according to ESPN and Sports Illustrated of the last century, 10 championships, last 12 years, 7 in a row, 3 undefeated seasons. He always thought of himself as a teacher. And he presented a great line to a coach who he went to see play. This team was practicing. I don't know what it is exactly. I'm not a big basketball fan, but he said, "Hey, Jason, I thought you were playing the 2-2-1 or whatever the play was." And he said, "Oh yeah, I've been teaching that all year." Coach Wooden looked at him and said, "They're not doing it though. You understand, as an effective coach, you have not taught until they have learned." It's an interesting shift because whoever it is, there's a lot of stuff going on in the National Hockey League, teams underperforming. Then fans are all over a player, a goalie, defense. Like, who's running the ship? Submarine goes down. They don't usually grab the crew member that was in the back by the nuclear power plant. The captain's impossible. And and that's what great coaches do. And you don't see it in the NHL anymore. Oh, they don't get it. Listen to what's coming out of Toronto the last couple of months. It's like, buddy, you're coaching the team. Hello.
Yeah, no.
And you're getting $4 or $5 million to do it.
It's very true.
Okay, so it's so I guess it's Nye's fault or one of the other defensemen's. Yeah, wouldn't be your fault because you don't have to take responsibility then.
Quick break. We'll return. More on the business of sports. It is, and we talk about the business of sport. You don't have to like it all the time. We just kind of give you the human different sides of it, and that's okay. And no one's asking for empathy. When you outline the subject, say, hey, for a player to agree to a trade, there's lots of different reasons.
Yeah.
Right? There's because they have the advantage of if I don't agree to the trade, well, I'm still getting paid. Right? So that's a very strong, lucky situation to be in. That you're like, well, if I say no, I'm still getting paid.
Well, I've learned though, Jason, over time, like I get upset or frustrated when someone doesn't call you back right away. And then I've just learned over time to be more patient because numbers of times, oh, I'm so sorry. My son is in the hospital, so sorry. I talked to Don Sweeney a while back. No, it was Tom Fitzgerald. And it was during the summer and sorry, my son got hit with a baseball. And, there's things going on in the background. We're not the only people that have tough lives out here in the real world. I mean, fathers are sick, children have problems. I mean, Buddy Robinson's example, he went to make a year of play in Russia to make some money for his family, but he had to spend the whole year away from his family because one of his children's challenged and needs medical attention on a regular basis. Like, there's a lot of people out there. I remember Craig Muni going to they tried very hard for a number of years to have children. They adopted one and then had one, right? Like, it seems to happen a lot. But I remember, like, he was so excited to have his own child. He's up, feeding him in the night and all that stuff. And he's going to game 6, 7, 8 in the playoffs, No one understands.
Game 8. That was a crazy game.
That was a good, that was one he dreamt about apparently. But no, but he's going to work with lots of challenges. Or when Tam Talbot had twins, maybe he probably had a few bad games around there, but no one's talking about that. And I think we should more often because sometimes there's real world problems that giving a guy a justifiable excuse. How about this one? This is the worst ever. Dominik Hasek, he retired, he came back. They're paying a lot to goaltenders. They had Cujo in at 9. Dom was willing to accept 6. He gets a groin injury. It's just a nagging thing, right? And they think he's faking it. Like the reporters say, come on, he should be ready. He came back. He should be this. He should be that. Unbeknownst to them, Dom had agreed to give all his salary back. So Kenny Holland's phoning me going, like, Rich, I know he doesn't want anybody to know, but I just can't sit back and let him get the crap beat out of him like he is. So Ken finally told the reporters, you don't know what's going on in the background. And I wish fans would, try and think a little bit before they make off the cuff kind of comments. There's a lot more going on. What if the guy's dad's dying as we speak? Would that be a good excuse not to want to waive your no-claim costs? Think about it. It's not as easy as it looks all the time.
Quick break. We'll return. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hey, Edmonton. Did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
Day or night, tasting just the right. You can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle noodle.
What a performance by Action Electrical today. Their projects team kicks things off, designing and building with unmatched skill.
Then the service team swoops in for those crucial repairs and maintenance. And don't forget the testing team, ensuring everything's safe and sound before the solar team scores with sustainable energy.
A complete team effort. Have Action Electrical bring home a win for you and your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
When it comes to sports in Edmonton, Jason Gregor is a must listen. He brings you the inside scoop with guests from across North America. If it matters in sports, you'll hear it here first. Gregor rolls out weekdays from 2 to 6 on Sports 1440.
Support your circulatory health with NACA Platinum Nattokinase. This powerful enzyme cleans your arteries, helps with varicose veins, promotes improved blood flow, and more. Find NACA Platinum Nattokinase at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
The Price is Right Live is coming to Canada, and The Brick is a proud sponsor. Come on down to The Brick to win big this Saturday, March 7th from noon to 2. Join us at The Brick South Edmonton Common for your chance to instantly win from over $25,000 in prizes, including brick shopping sprees, TVs, Oilers tickets, and so much more. No purchase necessary. Some conditions apply. See in-store for contest details and exclusions. So come on down to the Brick South Edmonton Common this Saturday.
Mission Allen Auctioneering's next Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg public unreserved heavy truck auction is next Thursday at 9 a.m. with tandem and single axle trucks, including a special dispersal of 3 unused 2024 Kenworth T880 tandem cab and chassis trucks. Info at maauctions.com.
Salvi Group is celebrating 50 years of building homes and communities, and we want to share the celebration with you. For a limited time during our 50/50 event, you'll enjoy 50% off select packages. That's special savings, select upgrades, and added value, all designed just for you. Build new or move in sooner at Hillshire. There's never been a better time to call Hillshire home. Celebrate with Salvi Group and enjoy 50 years, 50% off. Visit Hillshire today. Salvi Group, 50 years of craftsmanship, quality, and commitment.
Mission Rail and Auctioneering's Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg public unreserved equipment auction is next Friday at 9 a.m. featuring backhoes, dozers, digger derrick, forklifts, man lifts, wheel loaders, skid steers, telehandlers, turf mowers, plus commercial trailers and more. Info at maauctions.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. The Oilers playoff push to the playoffs is on. OTR ready to be your hockey headquarters. $5.75 Molson Canadian and 69-cent wings. Plus play, score, and win every game. See more at ontherocksyeg.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$4.29. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Ritch Winter, Connor Halley with you. It's the business of sports here on Sports 1440. The Gregor Show, always brought to you by our title sponsor, PlayAlberta.ca, your one-stop shop, instance, live dealer, lottery, sports, casino. They got it all in one place at PlayAlberta.ca, and all the revenue stays right here in the province, PlayAlberta.ca. We got a lot of text questions today. Good. Hey, guys, I'm curious, for Rich, did GMs ever call agents to figure out why players are playing abnormally bad? Do agents ever call their own clients if their play is off?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I actually remember the most interesting one I had. I think it was Jim Playfair was the defensive coach in Phoenix when Michael Roosevelt was there.
Yes.
And he called me, just asked me, he said, do you think Rosie, does he even want to play anymore? I'm like Rosie's a pretty competitive guy. I asked him what was going on. He just seems like a lethargic and he's not that energized, but he's a pretty understated guy, right? He doesn't say a lot. So I phoned Rosie and what's going on? You don't think it's going on? I said, no, and he couldn't figure it out. So it was interesting. So we talked about it. Jim was a little off the mark because he only played about 300 more games and won 2 Stanley Cups. So I think he was engaged, but yeah, there's times that, guys can't figure a player out. I had a long talk yesterday with, a young Czech player in the Western Hockey League that coach is just trying to untap him, loves his skill, loves his skating, but just thinks he's caring too much. So we had a long talk about, family background and things that might be triggering that kind of response. stuff like we talked about with Janice Taylor a few weeks back about emotional fitness. Yeah, it's not unusual. But I had an interest. I talked to him a lot. In our organization, we do a lot of goal setting, and we have a lot of behavioral science tools that we use. And I joked the other day with a guy, like, I had 6 guys in the minors this year when we started. 1 guy left. It's pretty, it's a good year for us, right? Because ultimately, think of the revenue stream. I can get my 3-4 points off of 200 or million, right? So it's good. But I said to this particular player, I said, he's been traded twice this year, which is kind of interesting. And but he's that close. He's big. He's strong. He skates pretty well. And I said, you know what? We did some goal setting with the team to get really clear, which we got to do again. Now he's traded again, but get clear what they want. Because I said, I think the only impediment between you and the one-way deal you've been looking for is something I figured out. And the good news, it's manageable. And we have a lot of influences, because you know what the problem is? It's you. It's the only thing that's stopping you from playing. And so he got really excited about that, started working on his goal setting. And so, we want them to succeed, right? So, coaches want them to succeed. GMs want, and it depends on who the GM is. But, we had Matthew Darch on the other day. Can you imagine Matthew's, one of my clients, struggling with the Islanders? How likely it is you think weeks would go by without him calling? No. But he's a good man. He's had a lot of experience in the real world. He knows how to talk to people. And what happens in the National Hockey League, most of these guys don't. I mean, I've had situations like where the coach isn't even talking to the player because he doesn't know how to tell him, right, that he's sitting or doing this kind, or he's not, why he's not playing, because they're intimidated. They're not that, most of them aren't trained in psychology and communicating. And, so we often play a pretty big role. And I have no trouble calling a player and talking to him about because it's to his benefit and mine, right? He plays well, I do well.
Yeah. You want the player to have success, not just financially, but emotionally, for every other reason. But it's a good question. Sometimes because the GM's like, man, I don't know how to approach the player, so you probably call the GM. You might call. I would think a good GM would call the agent first to say, hey, there's something here that I should be aware of that maybe I don't know. Because the truth of the matter is, a player sometimes, if they've got something that he thinks, because lots of times we'll create how we think someone's going to react to the news, right? Like it's think about, husband, wives, parents, kids. Oh, geez, if I tell them this is how they're going to react.
I can't say it that way.
I can't say it that way, or I can't tell them this. And so the player, maybe something's ailing. Well, I don't want to tell them because maybe I'll be out of the lineup and then I'm not going to get back in the lineup. Or they're going to think that I'm weak because I've got this or that. So a good GM nowadays probably has to go to the agent and say, I just want to check in first before I go to the player. Is there something I should know?
Well, yeah, because, you don't know what's going on in their head. And it's so difficult because NHL teams don't really, for the most part, handle the things like the emotional intelligence and the mentality. I remember one time, like, it's so tied together. Like, there's a basic approach we take with athletes who are struggling. I phoned them up. I remember Thomas Faucon years ago. I believe he was 0-8 at the time, coming right out of the season. Played pretty well. Just, team wasn't scoring. So I said to him, Thomas, where are you? So I'm just lying in bed at the hotel. Why? So why don't you do me a favor? I said, so, okay, just trust me on this. I said, so I want you to get out of bed, stand up, put your feet shoulder width apart. Then I want you to look at the ceiling and smile, a big a smile as you can. I said, how do you feel now? Well, a little better. And the point of that was to try and explain the body and mind connection. And so what we get players to do when they first struggle is do the things away from the rink that you do when you're playing well. Because you say, oh, I got to go to bed early because, I haven't been playing well. Reminder, in slump, right? Well, I'm not going to have a glass of wine with dinner. I'm in a slump. Hey, maybe we should try my favorite meal because I got a hat trick that time. Oh, yeah, you're in a slump, so you should probably try that. So what I said, so go out to a late movie. Have 3 glasses of wine because you do that. And at least that's the start for you to subtly change the way you're feeling. Because my feeling is that NHL players are like old locomotives.
Mm-hmm.
They can't go from 0 to 100 instantly. So if you walk around all day in a funk, how's it going, Jason? Oh, it's horrible, man. I don't know. It's just been, you do that all day. You can't shake that and play at the level that they're playing at. Right. So, yeah, we spend a lot of time with, players talking about those kinds of things because it's really important. Like, and their mentality, like the GM might not know. He doesn't know. GM's up in the office. He's around a little bit at practice, doesn't see him much, doesn't know. You ask the players, they know. But they don't seem to focus on it. They just don't seem to understand the value of the fuel that fires the engine, which is the emotions and the mental approach to the game. I look at players like Connor McDavid, and he's got to put so much pressure on himself that it's just got to be tough. How do you release that? Because like Janice was told me that Connor probably has an extra 20-30% in him. If he could just, it's understandable. Everybody in the world is saying if he doesn't win a cup, he's not in that group.
Yeah. Wow. And, it's got lots of time for that.
But it's still hard. When you're an athlete, your long-term view is not like ours. He doesn't have lots of time. He doesn't think.
Yeah.
A long-term view for a hockey player is Tuesday.
Well, the elite player is a little bit different.
Yeah, I don't agree with you. I think elite players are a little bit different because they don't have the ups and downs, so they can let it slide. Wayne Gretzky doesn't get any points one night. He's not figuring he's washed up when he's in his prime. But Connor is like, it looks to me like Connor's the guy trying to make the lineup. There's a lot more pressure when you're in the press box, and there's a lot more pressure, very unique pressure on a guy like Connor McDavid because it's about the cup. It's about winning the cup. And you carry that because it's not easy to win.
I don't disagree with that. And that's why I've always felt like I think it's important if I'm building the Oilers organization, I'm looking for lots of factors because you can't win the cup in the regular season. You can get into a playoff position.
Yeah.
That's all so you can give yourself, hey, we could be one of 16 teams in the hunt.
Yeah.
And now we know that out of those 16, there's probably 8 maybe who have a realistic shot to win. Now some though, every year not every year, but lots of years we have upsets. Hey, Florida went from the 8th seed, that the 17th most points in the regular season, went all the way to the cup final a few years ago. And some wonder if Tkachuk and others weren't hurt, maybe they would have won. So you never know once you get in what can happen. But it is a lot of pressure. And you would need to find ways during the season to turn down the knob
a little bit
on the pressure. I got to have some funny guys in the room.
Yeah.
Right. I would have to have some agitators in the room where if anybody tries to, take a bite out of McDavid, he knows. Like, I love what Podkolzin did last night. Yeah, I get that, it's pretty clean hit on Matthias Ekholm. But guess what? If you don't do anything at certain times, other teams look and say, we can take advantage of it, right? So I love what Podkolzin did. And he didn't go after a super heavyweight, right? Like, I'm not doing that against Olivier or because then you might get hurt. But the odds of really getting hurt in that fight last night are pretty low.
Minimal.
And, and I think those little small things work out. But I would make sure when I know that I've got a superstar who he puts way more pressure on himself than anyone else.
Oh, yeah.
There's no question about that.
Yeah.
But he also puts in way more work than most other people. There's a reason why he's so great at his job.
Oh, absolutely.
He's so
his
committed.
Focus and commitment.
It's amazing.
Reproach.
Right? But I think you'd have to look and say, Connor does put a lot of focus and emphasis on himself and wanting to win. And so that's all he's wired for. And that's great. So what can we do to help him? And I think that's the G. And it's not just about, okay, can we get the best right winger and the best left winger and the best defenseman?
You might need a Corey Perry or
like you need other elements. And I think you need some guys. Okay, who are some players that I honestly, I know and I'm a big, I'm not a huge believer in first impressions, but I've met Connor Murphy before. I've never had as long as a chat I had with Connor Murphy today.
Right.
But I could just tell from our first instance. So we meet, and so to people background on the Oilers room when they open the room for media availability, they'll have numbers on the board, guys who are going to do scrums, and then it says side, and usually that's a one-on-one.
Okay.
Right. And so I was listed at side because I was the only one who asked for Murphy because I wasn't there last night. And then Rashad's like, hey, do you mind if I get it? He said, get your 2 questions out, whatever. So it was like a running joke. I said, he's got 2 questions. And Connor Murphy's right away. He's like, what does side mean? And he starts making a few jokes about what side. So we sit down hey, what's your name? Like, I always introduce myself first anyway. Hey, nice to meet you. And I can tell you, not every player's that way. Just like not every human.
Yeah.
I meet kids. Some kids will look you square in the eye and shake your hands. Others won't. They don't. What do you mean? I don't have to say hello to you. Like, there's different ways. And I could just tell, here's Connor Murphy. And when he talked about the importance of giving back to the community and doing stuff in the community. And he said, because you know what? I didn't think about hockey. And that actually really helped me because when you're younger, all you do is think about hockey.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And Connor doesn't have kids yet, McDavid, because when you do relax a little bit more.
You have no
Some
choice,
days you're more stressed too. Any parent out there's like, what are you talking about? Relax more. Some days you relax more. Right. And some days
you're distracted at least.
Right. Because think about it for any parent. You have a tough day at work, whatever your job is a tough day. And when you have that newborn, you come home and, or maybe you're lucky enough that you get to stay at home mom or stay at home dad. But those moments when, you just put the baby on your chest, it's a weird feeling. And if you're young and you don't have kids, I can't explain it until you experience it. I can tell you about it, but you don't really know.
Or when you play mini
until
sticks
you do it.
hockey, because you have to focus.
Yes.
And
then you're there, right?
Well, it's a psychological phenomenon identified by a University of Chicago psychologist named Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. It's called flow. And if you can get a flow experiences when you're so wrapped up in it, rock climbing, chess, drawing, you're so wrapped up in it that you can't think of anything else. And that's what your children do now. They might be terrorists for a brief period of time, but you're not thinking about the game because you're trying to figure out how to get the kid off the roof and then identify how he got up there. And it's cathartic in a sense that you just get away from it a little bit. So it is healthy to have distractions for sure.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's good for everybody in their walk of life. And and sometimes in a locker room, there's different personalities. Obviously, you need guys who can play.
Yeah.
But
ideally,
at the same time, you want guys, different personalities who can cut the tension. Sometimes you need the experience. I think the Oilers now, McDavid and Draisaitl have been in the Stanley Cup final twice. Like they don't need to hear, they don't need Corey Perry to tell them about the stories because now they've lived the stories. Right. So that part's good. But now you might need a young guy who comes in or a veteran and they're wide-eyed and super excited. Like Connor Murphy.
We want to win it for him.
Yes.
Because we've already run 3.
Yeah.
Right?
And Connor Murphy, I talked to him about it today, and he had a great answer for Oiler fans. You might want to check it out later on at jasongregor.com or anywhere you get your podcast, re-listen to it. But he's never played a playoff game with fans because the only year he made the playoffs was 2020.
Right.
And he even said, he goes, you know what? I never put that much stock in that playoffs. It was fun, but, the fans really make the playoffs because it's so much more intense
crazy.
and the building's loud. And, he even noticed, he goes like, I've obviously been around the league for many years. He goes, there's more Oilers jerseys in this rink than I see in a lot of rinks around the league. And he goes, first thing, and his wife, and they have a young son who's a year and a half. And so they're, him and his wife were very excited when they got the call because they knew they were going to get traded.
Right.
So they got the call, wow, I'm coming to Edmonton. And they're just like, Canadian market, really good team.
Oh, yeah.
You get to play with superstars. Like,
right.
I don't care who you are as a player. To say, hey, I was a teammate of Connor McDavid for a while and Leon Draisaitl and Evan Bouchard and name the rest.
And maybe I'm one of the guys who gets to go over the hump with them.
Yes.
That'll be memorable.
Yeah.
Well, I've always, a friend of mine said, and I didn't really follow that closely. He said, Bill Guerin was the guy that, really helped Sidney Crosby. And I don't know much about the details around that, but he must have been reading or heard some stories and stuff. But that may be an example. Like Connor McDavid may not need someone to tell him the stories about how we, getting to the Stanley Cup final, but maybe he needs a perspective that will help him relax. That guy that's just funny, he's fun to be around and he takes you away from the game periodically on the road. Hey, buddy, let's go do this. Have you ever seen Bobby Holik was interesting that way. I mean, if I ever had a thing I wanted to do on the road when I was waiting for a game to start, call Bobby. He knows every museum. He knows where to go. And maybe you need a guy like Bobby Holik just to take some of these guys out and take them away from the game, because when you're in the middle of the playoffs, it's got to be overwhelming, especially when you're putting extra pressure on yourself to win. So, it may not be a winger. It may not be a defenseman. It just may be that guy that goes, you know what? Bobby was the key. This guy was the key because he just kept the room so relaxed.
Yeah, there's lots of different guys at different times that do that.
A lot of different components to having a successful team.
Yeah. Lots more text line in 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Rich, how do you negotiate when it comes to no movement clauses, no trade clauses? How hard or easy are those types to get into a deal?
Depends on the organization. It depends on the organization. Some are smart enough to just stick to their guns and say, look, we don't have those here. Right. And I think that's what I'd be doing if I was in that seat. It varies on the team. It's harder for them to say, well, we don't want to do that because we already have 17 guys with those, and well, my guy's going to be 18 or he's going somewhere else because he wants some control. Now we know the no move clause is absolutely meaningless, right? Because you have to, if you want, the no move is important. This is important distinction. The no move prevents you from moving him anywhere, including sending him down. Mangiapane didn't have a no move clause, so he gets to go down. So the no move clause is harder because at least you want to be able to get out of some of the relief, and maybe you want to have the pressure of sending you down if you don't accept this trade. But it depends on the team. There's no real answer. Certainly, guys, Julian Brisebois, tough, firm, builds policies, sticks to them, treats everybody the same. You just kind of go, if you want to play in Tampa, they don't have that thing. But if you go to Toronto, they give it away like candy, at Christmas. So it's different. Every team's different.
Quick break. We'll come back, wrap things up on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. It's a business of sport here on Sports 1440.
Is your digestive system crying for help? NAC and Nutri probiotic veggie caps fight bloating and constipation, strengthen immunity, and can even aid in weight management. Find them at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
It's the iconic Jasper Ave Patty Party. That's on the rocks. We're turning Jasper Avenue green.
Your 5-day St. Patty's Day party kicks off Friday at OTR.
With live entertainment every day.
Including the Feelin' Lucky burlesque show on Sunday.
Plus pipers, Irish dancers, and doors open at 9 a.m. on the 17th.
We got more green beer than Marco has fancy shirts. And trust me, that's a lot.
Lucky the Leprechaun will be there.
Will you?
It's the iconic Jasper Ave Patty Party. That's on the rocks. Next round's on me. Woohoo!
Mr. Rooter kinda speaks French. Je m'appelle Monsieur Rooter. Je suis plombier.
Très bien, Mr. Rooter. Your name is Mr. Rooter, and you are in fact a plombier, a plumber. You are an excellent student.
Au contraire, mon frère, je suis un excellent étudiant. Also, I'm not here for a French lesson. I'm here because someone clogged up the toilets.
Ah, oui, right this way.
For a plumber who speaks your language, call Mr. Rooter.
NHL Star Sticks are back in McDonald's, and we're celebrating by going bigger.
Make that smaller, way smaller than ever before.
Collect the set and get one of 7 mini sticks with every NHL Star Sticks meal. Featuring McDavid, Matthews, Quinn Hughes, Makar, Celebrini, Reinhardt, and Montembeau. So get yours while they last. 1 stick per meal purchase. Limited time at participating Canadian restaurants.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Edmonton sports fans stay informed with Sports 1440. Stream us. Listen to us on the AM dial. However you consume this radio station, thanks for listening.
Ah, yes, Alberta in March. Green beer and slushy roads. Where the only thing worse than the roads is trusting them. If your brakes are squealing louder than a pub on game night, or your shocks feel like they found potholes instead of a pot of gold, it's time to go to Napa Auto Parts. With over 85 locations in Alberta, Napa has the quality parts, tools, equipment, and know-how to keep your ride smooth and feeling confident. More than lucky. Visit your local store today or visit online at napacanada.com. That's Napa Know-How.
Measles outbreaks are occurring in Canada, including Alberta. These outbreaks are highly preventable. Measles is an extremely contagious disease that is spread easily through the air. The best way to protect yourself, your family, and your community is to ensure you are up to date with your immunizations. Don't get measles. Get immunized. Visit alberta.ca/measles to find out if you're up to date and what to do if you're not. A message from the Government of Alberta.
Mission Rail and Auctioneering's Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg Public Unreserved Equipment Auction is next Friday at 9 a.m. featuring backhoes, dozers, digger derrick, forklifts, man lifts, wheel loaders, skid steers, telehandlers, turf mowers, plus commercial trailers and more. Info at maauctions.com.
There we go back. This is the moment. Tonight is the night. We'll fight till it's
Portions of this hour brought to you by Elks Nation. Check out the new website, elksnation.ca. Articles, podcasts, and more breaking down the green and gold. The most in-depth WE football coverage online, elksnation.ca.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
We rolled through Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. Rich had to wheel away here, so we'll finish up the business of sport. We got a lot of texts coming in at 833-401-1440. Everybody's fired up. Hey, Gregs, are those trades official yet? No, they are not. I haven't seen anybody officially announce whether it's the team or one of the, Sarah Valley, Free, nobody that's mentioned exactly if Parayko is indeed going to Buffalo, who's going back to St. Louis. If Mackenzie Weegar has officially signed off yet on the deal that will send him to Utah. So they think they're going to happen, but as of right now, nothing is official. And hey, that's happened before in the trade deadline. You announce a trade and then, it doesn't become official for a while. So we will see. Hey guys, speaking of business, who are the Oilers calling up to replace Lazar? I think you could fit $950K since Lazar is $775 and they have $250 cap space from Andrew. Well, Andrew, I don't think they're going to bring up anybody. They don't play till Friday. The trade deadline is Friday at 1:00. So they could make a trade today or tomorrow. And I would never call up Ike Howard to replace Curtis Lazar. They don't play the same role. Like if I'm calling up anybody to replace Lazar, who's clearly on your fourth line, and there's I look at who the Oilers are having above them in the standing. They're not. So Rosovic isn't going down. Podkolzin isn't going down. Savoy isn't going down. Frederick's playing very well. Kapanen, who's going down? And when I say down, I mean down the lineup. Because Ike Howard's not a fourth line player. So I'm not calling up Ike Howard to move one of those guys to the fourth line. So I would say that if they call up anybody, if they feel they need to, I think they probably wait until the trade deadline to announce it. And James Hamlin, Roddy Arventi, those guys would probably fit that role better. But between now and then, I wouldn't be shocked if the Oilers make an acquisition. And that would be the move over Lazar. So, because there's really no benefit to moving Lazar to LTIR today and calling up a player when they don't play till Friday. If worst case scenario, they would play 11-7 for one game. So I don't see them doing anything right away. But yeah, that the numbers they have is about 975. So Max Jones would be the guy they'd call up, but he doesn't fit because he's $1 million cap hit. So because he would fit, he's exactly what it is. Right? He's a fourth line winger, banger, crasher, can skate, can play at the NHL. He'd be the guy to replace Lazar. Now I will say, Curtis Lazar, they're going to miss him as a right shot center iceman. He's won lots of draws for them. And he's out, if you missed it, Curtis Lazar is out probably up to 4 weeks, according to Chris Knobloch. So not ideal for Curtis or the Oilers. But Lazar is, you know what? He hasn't taken a ton of draws, but he's 61%. When it takes draws, he's damn good, right? And a lot of his draws were basically in the defensive zone, right? In the D zone, he won 90 out of 150. He was 66.7% in the D zone, really good. So they'll miss him. And I think the need for a right shot center iceman probably becomes even more. Now they got Szymanski. So that's a guy. Now he's not as experienced in the draw yet as Curtis Lazar, but he's an option. But he's a lefty, right? He doesn't even shoot right. He's good as a lefty, but doesn't shoot right. So they need a right shot who can take some draws. Now Frederick can do it, but Frederick's not as good in the faceoff circle as Lazar. Not even close. So I think the Lazar injury, I think they were looking for a right shot center anyway. I think the Lazar injury might have them increase their need to get a right shot center iceman. I just, I don't see why they wouldn't. So, you just want a little diversity. Now, the good news is it's only 4 weeks, at least the initial diagnosis. So if we do the 4 weeks from today, March 4th, gets you to what's that, April 2nd, give or take. And then we'll go from there. So playoffs probably start the weekend of the, what is that, the 19th? Is that the Saturday? So even if it's 6 weeks, he could be back as a depth guy. But Curtis Lazar, bigger body, physical, can win faceoffs. Like he had kill penalties. He has a very set role that he could fit into your team. So, and Gregor, why would we spend a first-round pick on Roy? Yeah, I'm not in love with the I like him. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know if I like him as a first rounder. Like, it's interesting that look at what some of the depth forwards like Michael McCarron cost you as much as Murphy, a second rounder. Right? You look at Cole Smith, he was a third rounder. And those guys are depth kind of fourth line players. So is the market, like, it's funny, is it that hot? For like, look how many minutes Connor Murphy is going to play compared to how many minutes McCarron and Smith play for their respective teams. And I get, hey, they feel McCarron's going to win some draws. They're a bad face-off team. Okay. But still, at the end of the day, how many face-offs, how many minutes is he going to play? How's he impacting the game? So, the price tag might be the reason, like I mentioned AJ Greer. And I know some people are like, how can you bring in AJ Greer? What he said about McDavid? Nah, I don't. Sticks and stones, man. I don't, sticks and stones, they break my bones, words will never hurt me. Like, come on. I don't think that Connor McDavid's like, I can't have AJ Greer on the team because he chanted, at a bar when he was inebriated. I think that would be a little thin-skinned. I remember Billy Carroll. Now, Billy Carroll wasn't very mouthy. But anyway, Billy Carroll, the Oilers battled him for the Islanders. Then he came and joined the Oilers. Difference was the Oilers had won, so it's a little bit different. But if I'm the Oilers and I could get AJ Greer on my team, who's been proven to be an impactful, energetic, fourth-line winger who can produce and make an impact in limited minutes, why would I be opposed to it because he got drunk and said something on a speaker at a bar to his fans? Like, guess what? If we weren't in the era of filming everything, no one would know. No one would care. Sometimes it's best that you don't know what people think about you, right? Because really, in the way, like, it's none of my business. If Bob or Sarah or Sally don't like me and I don't interact with them, like, who cares, right? So AJ Greer and McDavid, they're fierce competitors. And so, if he would have chanted that at a bar and no one videoed it, would anybody care? Would it matter anything? Like, this might sound, but if you're having a celebratory party about winning your championship, I don't think it's any business of the team you beat. What happens at the party? Am I wrong on that, Cons? Like, it's kind of like, why would I want to know what goes on in their party? It's none of my business.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously 2026, that 2025 when it happened. Of course, cell phones are out. Videos are going to be posted. People doing it for the clicks and trying to get clout off of it. I mean, to me, it's a little weird. You win and you're still talking smack about the other team. I'd be kind of trying to be happy about what I did rather than the other team. So to me, when it happened, I'm like, okay, a little weird, but you won. You get to celebrate however you want to. Who cares? If the Oilers won, I'm sure there'd be a few players who'd have a few pops and talk smack about the Panthers, right? Like, it would have gone probably either way. So, yeah, I think with the common goal of winning a Stanley Cup, anyone who can help the Oilers and who's been there before, I don't think they're going to let that get in the way of acquiring them.
Yeah. Let's take a break. We'll come back. Mark Spector will join us in the final hour of the show today. Also, we'll hear from Adam Vingan. What about the Nashville Predators, man? Second and third round picks already. Who else are they shipping out? We'll find out that. We got Cam Tait and more. It's busy. Wednesday edition of the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Let's get to the con man and the Sports 1440 update brought to you by Loca. You looking for good food? Tired of cooking? They have over 200 chef-prepared meals. You can pick it up in person, sure, at Park or Edmonton, or deliver it right to your door. Meals.loca.ca. Eat better today.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
For reports, the Buffalo Sabres acquiring Colton Parayko from the St. Louis Blues for defenseman Radim Marka and a first-round pick. Still waiting on this to be finalized. Also, Elliot Friedman reporting the Utah Mammoth and Calgary Flames closing on a deal to send Mackenzie Weegar to Utah. That's pending approval. Dallas Stars have acquired defenseman Tyler Myers from the Canucks for a second-round pick in 2027 and a fourth-rounder in 2029. Canucks retaining 50%. And the San Jose Sharks signing Kiefer Sherwood to a new deal, 5 years, with an AAV of $5.75 million. In the AJ today, afternoon action, Camrose comes back to beat Calgary 4-3 in a shootout. The NHL level tonight. You got Red Wings, Golden Knights, Maple Leafs, Devils, Hurricanes, Canucks. The Ducks host the Islanders, and the Blues taking on the Kraken in the association. It gets going shortly. Thunder, Knicks from New York. You also have the Celtics and the Hornets. Jazz taking on Philly. Grizz up against the Trailblazers. Hawks in Milwaukee, and the Clippers hosting the Pacers. PWHL, Seattle in Ottawa. Puck drop at 5. And from the NFL, Chiefs sending all-pro cornerback Trent McDuffie to the Rams for a 29th overall pick this year with a 5th and a 6th, and then next year a 3rd-round selection. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Swifter, Rogers Forrest. We'll talk some Preds with Adam Vingan. And it's the 2-minute warning with Cam Tait as he starts a new 10-part series, Steel and Spirit, the Sledge Sessions this afternoon. Part 1, The Bucket. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Need a new ride for road trips, errands, or just life on the go? Go Auto offers a massive selection with over 15,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. With over 70 locations across Western Canada, finding your next ride has never been easier. Whether it's a roomy SUV for the family, a sleek car for the open road, or a rugged truck for your weekend adventures, you'll find it here at a price you'll love. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
Action Electrical's projects team takes the field, folks, ready to execute the entire play for new commercial builds.
Absolutely. They're masters of design build, sketching strategy from initial blueprints to core electrical infrastructure. The team never misses on complex projects.
Known for handling big league constructions and major renovations, ensuring flawless execution, hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Getting your vehicle sparkling clean doesn't have to cost a fortune. Take it into Hughes today and pay just loonies a wash.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
If you've got a smart speaker, get it to play Sports 1440.
And it doesn't matter when you listen as we roll out the Sports Talk
24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Edmonton's home for sports radio is Sports 1440.
Support your circulatory health with NACA Platinum Nattokinase. This powerful enzyme cleans your arteries, helps with varicose veins, promotes improved blood flow, and more. Find NACA Platinum Nattokinase at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
When life unexpectedly changes, it can leave us feeling unbalanced, uncertain, and unsure of how to move forward. But you don't have to go through it alone. I'm Corey Anderson with Fairway Divorce Solutions. Our team helps reestablish balance, guiding you through your divorce with compassion, clarity, and support. Fairway has helped more than 6,500 families across Canada find a path towards a peaceful, fair resolution. With 2 offices in Edmonton, we're here to make your journey easier. Discover your options at Fairway Divorce.
It's wall-to-wall and treetop tall trade day coverage all day Friday on Edmonton's only 24-hour sports station. Sports 1440.
The Price is Right Live is coming to Canada, and the Brick is a proud sponsor. Come on down to the Brick to win big this Saturday, March 7th from noon to 2. Join us at the Brick South Edmonton Common for your chance to instantly win from over $25,000 in prizes, including Brick shopping sprees, TVs, Oilers tickets, and so much more. No purchase necessary. Some conditions apply. See in-store for contest details and exclusions. So come on down to the Brick South Edmonton Common this Saturday.
Being a living organ donor is a noble, life-changing act. But there's more than one way to be a hero. Join the Living Donor Circle of Excellence.
As an employer, you can give the gift of time and remove financial barriers to make employee donations easier. You'll earn recognition, a raised corporate profile, employee satisfaction, and of course, be a huge part in saving lives in desperate need. Support the sacrifice of living donors. Discover how to join the Living Donors Circle of Excellence program today at kidney.ca.
Just after break.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Did you know that Japa offers in-house and on-site service? Rain or shine, Japa Service Department is here for you. Get a quote now at japamachinery.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Eat better today. 507 Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. Hope you're having a fantastic Wednesday afternoon as you are now, 44, just under 44 hours from trade deadline. We'll have wall-to-wall coverage on Friday. A little extra airtime for a few and some special guests coming in, so you'll want to tune in for that on Friday for sure. Of course, the Oilers do have a game on trade deadline at home against the Carolina Hurricanes. The Oilers will practice tomorrow. Then they'll have an optional skate, which is usually the case on trade deadline day. Especially, it's rare. I can't remember the last time they played a home game. I know they played road games before, but I can't remember the last home game they've had. I'm sure they've had one. I just don't remember it. It's never an ideal situation for now. The Oilers, Andrew Mangiapane is in town, is back in Edmonton. He's just waiting to get traded. So, or they're like, that's where I can tell you that's how close they think it is. They've talked to him. He knows they're trying to facilitate a deal, see if they can have one who would free up. Because right now he's a $1.15 million cap hit on the, he's a $2.45 million cap hit. 1.15 is buried, but that's still 0.245. Even though he's not on the roster, he counts against the cap. So they would love to make a deal that has him, off the roster. That opens up puts him over $2.5 million in cap space. So that would be big. Other than that, any current players on the roster who could be dealt? Always possible. I don't know if I see any of the big name guys getting dealt. I look at, they're not trading Matt Savoy. I'd be stunned if they're trading Kapanen or Podkolzin or Roslovic. So, who off the roster are they going to move, right? Unless they shock us with the goalie trade. I don't think it's going to happen, but you never know. I'd say very, very low chance of that. It is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where, of course, every day you can check out the Jason Gregor Show odds boost specials. We got some of those there. Tonight, some NHL action and more, some of the early games that are just underway. We'll get to those. The Maple Leafs sitting out a lot of guys as they're taking on the Devils tonight. So they don't want to risk injuries to Scott Laughton, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, also Bobby McMahon. All of them are healthy scratched tonight. Meanwhile, Vegas, the game in hand they have is tonight against Detroit. And Vegas, I'll look to see who's in that lineup. We know Mark Stone still isn't playing. I'm looking. Mitch Marner is in the lineup tonight for them, but Shea Theodore also back in the lineup. So they get a few guys back in the lineup tonight that didn't play last night. Now let's get to the Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction, your underground infrastructure specialists, and they are hiring. If you're looking for not just a job, but a career move, go to gsconstruction.ca/careers because they like career-oriented people. It's Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us. Spec, how you doing?
All right, man. I see that Vegas has got most of their A team in. I'm just got the game on in front of me here. Leafs sitting a bunch of guys because that game doesn't mean anything to anybody. Nick Roy is playing, however, for the Leafs. So
yeah. So does that mean they're not close on a deal with him? I would guess.
Yeah, maybe.
They don't have enough bodies.
That's a good question. I mean, I don't think you can sit both Lawton and Roy together because they're basically your 3-4 centermen. So one of them, I assume one of them's got to play. They don't have that many guys around, Jay.
No, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. He might have drawn the short end of the stick, or maybe they feel they're closer on conversations on the other three. So
yeah, could be.
We shall see. Jake Wallman today tells us that, he was sat down due to his play. And he owned it. He said, hey, man, like, it's frustrating. You want it, especially when you're the guy who's responsible for us trailing. You want to be on the ice to help him back. I got to play better. And away you go. Also, Chris Knobloch said he still doesn't know who he's going to play Murphy with, but basically said he's going to try him in different places to see what fits, which actually makes sense.
Yeah, the people I talked to, I wrote a piece that's up on sportsnet.ca. The sort of people I talked to today, including someone from Chicago who's had him there for a long time, suggested that you want to have him with a puck-moving player. His puck skills aren't fantastic. He's a guy you're putting out to defend. He'll play the last minute of every period, assuming you're winning and not in need of a goal. So you want to play him with a guy who moves a good puck. To me, maybe that is Wallman, Jay. I'm not sure. I like the way Wallman had some accountability today. A lot of guys, the coach gave him the off-ramp last night when he said, oh, he was kind of hurt and, he's kind of this. Wallman could have taken that off-ramp. He didn't. He said, no, I wasn't hurt. I was just not very good, and they sat me. So I like that, frankly.
Yeah. Oh, I have no issue with it. I think Wallman, injuries have been a little bit of a factor here, I think, for him, no question. I think they want him to be more engaged more than anything else. Not so much decision-making. That's part of it, sure. I think they just want to see a higher level of intensity from Wallman. That's my sense.
Okay. I mean, I guess I want to say, let's look at last night's game. The first goal is he fires a breakout pass to Roslovic, and it's like 2 feet behind him. Is that whatever that is? It can't happen. He's a pro. Sometimes the pass is in a guy's skate because there's someone in your lane, or sometimes it's not right on the tape, but that pass was so far away from the player, it came right back at you and ended up in your net. So you tell me, Jay, is that being engaged? Is that ready to play? Is that whatever it is, he's got to take that play out of his files here, because that was an awful play and it cost his team an early goal.
Yeah. You look at, I had a really good conversation with Connor Murphy today about a lot of things about playing tough in front of the net. And it was interesting, but he also said the penalty kill structure in Edmonton really isn't any different than Chicago. Said Chicago worked really well. We had the same 4 guys together all the time, which when you look back to when the Oilers PK was on its ridiculous run that year, their same units were pretty much out there together, right? Like there's not many systems that are that different on the penalty kill. You want to get your timing right. And you know that if I move and you move when I move, right, we're more in unison. And so, it's not like Connor Murphy himself could just magically make the penalty kill better. It's about getting some continuity and having like foursomes, basically 2 D-men, 2 forwards, and they go out together. And that's what Edmonton had when their penalty kill went on that ridiculous run in the postseason.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's for some reason, for whatever reason, they're still searching for that connectivity on the PK. It's like, I remember someone describing it once. It's like you ever watch a school of fish, how there's 300 fish and they all turn at the same time and then they turn back at the same time. It's got to be like that with your 4 guys. They all have to react the proper same way at the same second. And when you get that and you get everyone thinking with the sort of the same brain, that's what the Oil had in the playoffs there 2 years ago when they never gave up a goal. So, you're going to give up the odd goal, but there's tons and tons of room for improvement in every aspect of Edmonton's defensive game. Don't kid yourself. That's just one of them.
Yeah. You look at some of these deals that haven't been officially announced yet. They come out and they're like, well, Parayko's got to, he's got to approve it. And Uyghur's got to approve it. And it just, I don't love it. it feels like there's a little bit of extra pressure being put on the player publicly, right? And hey, you can say, hey, business is business, but it just seems a little greasy. Am I wrong?
No, I mean, I get it. I would think the players don't love it either, because now let's say you're Colton Parayko, and there's 2 fan bases, and everybody knows your business, and you haven't even made your mind up yet. Mackenzie Weegar in Calgary sitting there doing the same thing. Tyler Myers sat there for most of the week on the sidelines with Vancouver. Yeah. So I agree. I don't think this isn't the spirit of a no trade. A no trade is supposed to work, or a no move or whatever. It's supposed to work in concert. It's supposed to work in concert with the whole deal. It shouldn't, half of it shouldn't come out, and then the players sitting there hanging in the wind. I don't love that either.
No, not at all. What'd you make of Szymanski last night?
I thought Szymanski was okay. He's still taking care of his defensive end. He leans on the defensive side of the puck. He doesn't risk things offensively. I think he's a young guy who's doing what smart young guys do. He's getting the trust of his coaching staff. At some point here, he's going to have to play a little more offensive hockey, but we're not in any hurry for that. There's enough guys erring on the offensive side right now, that's for sure, in Edmonton. So it doesn't have to be him, I would say to you. What do you think?
I didn't mind it, right? Nothing. I shouldn't say I didn't mind it. The one thing I noticed again was he doesn't make many bad reads defensively, and I think that's why he's going to be here. The coach looks and says, if I know this guy's on the ice, I can trust. Doesn't mean he's never going to get scored on, but I can trust more often than not he's going to make the right defensive decision. I got enough guys who make the right offensive plays. I need more guys who make the right defensive plays.
Right. That's it. Like, this whole team is on that. You just described the Edmonton Oilers. You need, right from your best player to your worst player, you need more guys taking care of the defensive end. So, sorry, I'm a little distracted. There's some trade stuff coming in here. I'm getting some emails. So, I'm not announcing it right yet because I don't know what I got, but I'm kind of flustered a little bit here. I'm trying to deal with Elliot Friedman on one side and Jason Gregor on the other. I've never been surrounded by such stardom in one place, Jay.
It's true. It's true. Well, at least you're looking at the better looking one, so that's good. What's the trade, Cons?
It looks like Dickinson to the Oilers.
Oh, from Chicago?
Yeah. That's from Friedman.
Mangiapane going the other way. That's what we're hearing.
Oh, well, God. Yeah, it has to be, right? Has to be. So, yeah, if Dickinson coming in, it has to be Mangiapane going out. Oh, it would have to be, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
Just because of, I just don't see how else you can do it.
Well, there can't be any, what does Dickinson make? Can somebody look that up? But there can't be any, obviously Edmonton's not retaining any salary. So Mangiapane's got, it's the only question I would have is if there's.
Well, Dickinson actually, he's making 4.25. So he makes more than Mangiapane. So Chicago would probably take Mangiapane and have to retain something here. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, so I would think Edmonton might have to. Now, it is a pending UFA, right? It's not like he has multi-year deals. So, because Chicago, if they take Mangiapane, who's probably not a bad player for a Chicago team, right? Competitive guy, on that team, he's probably a third liner, right? Maybe a moonlight as a second liner every now and then for a few games. Maybe scoring 12 goals. Like, it wouldn't be the end of the world for that team. I don't think the Blackhawks are ready yet to make a big push, right? Like, it sounds like, we had Aaron Portzline on earlier. He thinks there's a chance Nick Foligno might go back to Columbus. Really? I have to look at retention for them. So they've retained on Connor Murphy and Seth Jones. So if they get Dickinson and they get Edmonton to retain, that would be the 3 retentions.
They get Chicago to retain, yes.
Yeah.
3 retentions. And he is a left shot centerman, by the way. So that does not assuage the Oilers' need for a righty there. They're going to go to battle here with all lefties. 6'2", 200. He's a guy that scores you probably less than 10 goals. I'm going to average him out at about a 25-point player. So there's not a lot of offense, but that's okay. He's coming here is he a 3C, Jay? I would have to ask around if guys see him as a 3C or a 4C. I'm not.
I think a lot would say he's probably he's a 3C. Right, he's a really good defensive center. Right? Like, and this probably means Josh Szymanski's gonna, have to wait his time out, which I know you're not opposed to, and neither am I realistically. But
very much
that's
not
how
opposed to
I
that.
would see it.
Okay, so what's his? I'm just going to tell you, like, how long do you have this guy for? Because you're going to lose Henrique. You're going to lose Henrique at the. He's a UFA after this season.
Yeah,
so he's a rental.
Dude, there's you can find tons of free agent centers.
Yeah,
I don't think
that's fine. I'm okay with guys bringing in guys that are rentals, especially if you can find a way to lose Mangiapane's salary for next year, right? That's depending on what Stan's given up to make this deal happen. From what I'm looking at, if you're telling me Chicago's going to retain, Chicago's going to give you Dickinson, who's a more coveted player than Mangiapane.
Yeah.
Edmonton's got to send something else back. There's something good going their way. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Oh, it'd have to be, right? Have to be. So,
and nobody's reporting that yet, right? Did Elliott break that trade?
Yeah, Elliott put it out there. He just said they're discussing another move that would send Dickinson. So all he said was they were discussing it. Right?
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I mean, this is what. Listen, for guys that get them wrong at this time of year, I think everybody and their dog had the Oilers getting a right shot defenseman and a third line center. Preferably right shot, but I think whatever. And that's exactly what they've done. They went out and got a big defender, as we suspected, a 4, let's call them 4-5, and the 3C that they need. So I guess I'd tell you that, and if they move Mangiapane, and I haven't seen, we haven't seen what they're giving up yet, but I would tell you that Stan Bowman's he's checked off his shopping list, done a pretty good job so far in this trade deadline. Is that fair, Jay?
Oh God, yeah. If that's what they end up with, right? If you get Dickinson and you get Murphy, now the other guy, Spec, and I wrote it, and some Oiler fans were like, "What are you talking about? God, he said some mean things." AJ Greer would be exactly what the Oilers could use on their fourth line.
Yeah, he's for sure. Big bruiser, an irritant, but a big guy who irritates you not just with his mouth, but by drilling you through the boards once in a while. I don't mind AJ Greer. He's a fourth line player all day long, but that's okay. You need 4 lines. So sure, Jay, I'd be absolutely fine with AJ Greer. I'm looking him up right now. He makes $850 and he's a pending UFA. So if Florida is willing to give him up and he's willing, there's no trade protection. If Bill Zito is willing to trade him, he wouldn't cost you much.
I don't know about that, Spec. Look at what McCarron cost you. 2nd rounder. He's a 4th liner. Right? Cole Smith was a 3rd. I think it's going to cost you at least what Cole Smith cost you, a 3rd rounder, at least.
Okay. Yeah, maybe that's fair.
Yeah.
And then I guess you got to figure out he's a pending UFA. So there's probably a deal with a guy like that where you give up a what do you call it? A situational pick if you sign him, right?
Mm-hmm.
There could be that. Like, you'd hate to give Florida a 2nd round pick and have them play 20 games for you here and then sign with Florida in the summertime, go back home. I wouldn't love that if I'm Stan Bowman. So I would probably try to build that into the deal somehow.
Yeah, I think AJ Greer, honestly, is a guy who's going to be looking to strike at Ritch. And I would too, right? The guy has bounced around. He won a Stanley Cup, and he's a unique player. He's also got 11 goals this year, Spec. So he's not just a schmuck. Like, he can play physical and aggressive, but he can chip in. And the one thing that's most important for Edmonton, because their 4th line's not going to play a lot of minutes. They need 4th line players who know how to contribute in limited minutes. And it's a skill. And he's shown he can do it.
Yeah, I mean, this is the best year of his life. So, yes, I'm looking at his stats. He scored 5 goals, 6 goals, 6 goals, and then, boom, he's got 11 in 61 games this year. So, and the most points he's ever had. He's 29 years old. He's having a career season. So, I hear you. If I'm him and his agent, I'll sign anywhere. This is going to be the biggest contract I'm probably ever going to get. If I'm the team signing him, I'm wondering, am I signing a guy like Kiefer Sherwood here, who's cashing in on the best year of his life? I'm not sure that I want to be the team that signs that guy to too much money. He's any way you slice it, Jay. AJ Greer is a 4th line winger. He's always going to be a 4th line winger, no matter how much you pay him.
No, that is fair. Spec, Have yourself an awesome day. We will chat with you tomorrow.
All right. Bust that trade open. I'll be watching you.
Oh, there you go. That's Mark Spector. The Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. Now, doing the math in my head, the Oilers, let's say they got rid of Mangiapane's full, because right now he's 2.6 on the cap. But he's 2.6 on the cap, and they barely have cap space. So, or he's not 2.6, a little bit. Yeah, 2.45, excuse me, is what he is on the cap. Dickinson's 4.25. So Chicago's going to have to retain something. Otherwise, even if they take Mangiapane, still got to add something. So that would be their third retention spot in Chicago if they do it. So lots to watch for if that trade does indeed occur. Take a quick break. We'll come back and find out, what about the Predators? They got some good returns on some depth guys. Who else they looking at moving out? We'll find out next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 heating and cooling company for people who want heating and cooling, because you'll save a bundle by bundling. Then you can use hot, cold, hot, cold. Come on, thermostat, do what you're told. Turn up the heat, turn up the cold, to the vents start pushing out tornadoes. Bundle my furnace with some AC. Gonna get a new from Legacy. Oh, yeah. Save a bundle when you bundle your new furnace and AC from Legacy today. Plus no payments and no interest for 1 year. That's how you build your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Hey, Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
Is your digestive system crying for help? NACA Nutri Probiotic Veggie Caps fight bloating and constipation, strengthen immunity, and can even aid in weight management. Find them at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
Want to invest in Alberta's workforce, fill your talent pipeline, and get funding? Careers, the next generation connects employers with motivated, pre-vetted youth through funded internships. Easy, impactful, and risk-free.
When you work with a group like Careers who have experience in that area, they can demystify and navigate all the complex steps and stakeholders that have to be involved.
Visit careersnextgen.ca today.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
Who's that working on the underground utilities over there? All-Star Construction, that's who. What about the street lighting? Yep, All-Star Construction. And the directional drilling, hydrovacing, neighborhood renewal, and telecommunication work? Yep. Since 2009, All-Star Construction has been doing all that and more, shaping and building Edmonton communities for land developers all around Edmonton. That's what All-Star Construction is all about.
NHL Star Sticks are back at McDonald's, and we're celebrating by going bigger.
Make that smaller, way smaller than ever before.
Collect the set and get one of 7 mini sticks with every NHL Star Sticks meal. Featuring McDavid, Matthews, Quinn Hughes, Makar, Celebrini, Reinhardt, and Montembeau. So get yours while they last. 1 stick per meal purchase. Limited time at participating Canadian restaurants.
A claims program for harmed Canadians has begun as a result of a landmark tobacco settlement. If you smoked regularly before November 20th, 1998, and were diagnosed with lung cancer, throat cancer, emphysema, or COPD, you may qualify for a significant payment. To learn more, call 888-482-5.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Culligan for all your residential water needs. Your local water treatment company, more than just big bottles, Culligan.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
5:30. Welcome back, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Cons, what are you saying?
Oh, you didn't have your mic on.
Oh, yeah, that would help.
I threw it on, though.
Oh, there you go. Nice. Turn my mic on. Smart. Rookie move. Geez, you think I'd be doing this for a few years. Got to turn the mic on. So welcome back to the show. It's always brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Usually the best stuff happens when the mic's off. It's unfortunate for the listeners, but
clean intro.
Probably true. Yeah, very clean. Very crystal clean. So I like it. The rumor du jour lately involving the Oilers is Jason Dickinson from Chicago. Oilers and discussed in trade. But if you look at it, so he has a $4.25 million AAV. Mangiapane is currently at $2.45 million on the Oilers cap. And they've got $200 million in cap, or $200,000 in cap space. So, because remember, he's already in the minors, so 1.15 is off. So they're at 2.45. Even if they sent Szymanski down, right, that still doesn't get them enough cap space because he's 975. Right, so that puts him at what? 3.25, right? 3.2, I should say. So they'd have to get Dickinson to retain unless they're sending another player off the active roster to Chicago. Be surprised. So they'd have to get them to retain, and that's the Blackhawks' third retention. So lots of moving pieces. We'll see what happens. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. As it's time now to get to our trade report brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change. No overtime charges. That's how you build a legacy at legacyheating.ca. The Nashville Predators, who had went on a really good run, but management felt like, you know what, maybe it's not good enough. So yesterday they move out McCarron and Smith for a second and third round selection. And we'll see what else they have in store as Adam Bingen from 102.5 The Game in Nashville joins us, longtime reporter covering the Preds. And Adam, which other pieces do you think could be in play here over the next 43 hours?
It's a good question, Jason. I'm keeping my eyes on Michael Bunting, Eric Halla specifically. Both are pending unrestricted free agents. Of course, the big names in town, Steven Stamkos and Ryan O'Reilly. Steven Stamkos has a no movement clause in his contract, and he said on the record last week that he has had zero conversations with Barry Trotz about potentially waiving his no movement clause, but we'll see if that changes before Friday. And then there's Ryan O'Reilly, and Ryan O'Reilly does not have a no movement clause in his contract, but the Predators are treating him as if he does have a no movement clause in his contract. So if the Predators receive an offer for O'Reilly that they would consider, Barry Trotz will go to Ryan O'Reilly and seek his approval. I would personally try to sell Ryan O'Reilly before Friday because his value will never be higher than it is today. He is having the best offensive season of his career at age 35 in his 17th NHL season.
Yeah,
he's fabulous on both ends of the rink. He's a proven winner, a Conn Smythe Trophy winner, a Stanley Cup winner, a former captain in the NHL. All of the things that GMs go gaga over at the NHL trade deadline. So I think the Predators could get a great return for O'Reilly. I'm skeptical, however, that he'll be traded by Friday.
Okay. Now, Stamkos said he hasn't had any conversations, Adam, but do you think he'd be open to a trade?
Well, I think what else could happen, Jason, could lead to that if the Predators make more moves. If they trade Michael Bunting, if they trade Eric Halla, I think specifically if they trade Ryan O'Reilly, I think that could influence Steven Stamkos to change his mind and decide to move on from Nashville. Pierre LeBrun of TSN had a report last week on Insider Trading that Stamkos would consider going back to Tampa Bay. I don't know how the hell they would fit that in their cap situation. I believe the Stars and the Wild were also on Stamkos's reported preferred destination list. But I think, like, to me, I think the trigger would be O'Reilly. If the Predators traded O'Reilly, I think that would signal to Stamkos that the Predators are about to enter a significant rebuild. And at this stage of his career, I doubt that he wants to be part of something like that.
Yeah. The other guy, and it's funny, like Nashville went out and they got all these guys and everyone's like, oh, the Preds won free agency. I remember they won this summer. They're rocking and rolling.
Yes,
and
yes.
It just, I'm sure Nashville fans are like, don't remind me. I never want to hear about that again, because it just hasn't come to fruition at all. Marchessault has a $5.5 million cap, but he has 3 years. Like Ryan O'Reilly doesn't have the no movement clause, and he's got 1 year left at 4.5. And you said he's having a career year. Like, there's no doubt in my mind he's the most attractive guy on the team. Don't the Preds owe it to their organization to trade him?
It's a really good question. It's a complicated question. I have been advocating for the Predators to take that real step back. It appeared they were doing that, Jason, 3 years ago when they traded Matthias Ekholm to the Oilers, among other players, when they traded Nino Niederreiter and Mikael Granlund and Tanner Jeannot, and they received a haul of draft picks and prospects. But when the Predators went and maxed out the credit card on July 1st, 2024, it seemed to signal to a lot of people that the Predators were aiming to compete. And as you saw last season, it was a complete and total disaster. And this season hasn't been as bad. It started off terribly. They fought back valiantly to get back in the playoff race, but they've lost 10 of 14 and 3 of 4 since the Olympic break. So, the moves yesterday signaled that they're going to be sellers. But look, I think the Predators just, they've never really had the appetite to undergo a rebuild. I don't think they've ever really undergone a rebuild in their nearly 30-year history. And last month, when the Predators announced that GM Barry Trotz is retiring, majority owner Bill Haslam was a part of that news conference. And I asked him how open he would be as the new owner to undergoing a rebuild if the new GM told him this is what we need to do. He didn't completely dismiss the idea, but he sounded like he wasn't interested in doing that. So that's why this is so complicated. The Predators would probably be better off just tearing off the Band-Aid and starting over as much as they can, but I don't think there's any desire to do that within the organization.
Why is that?
That's also a good question. And I look, part of it I do think is just the market. Nashville has turned into a fabulous hockey market. I personally believe that Nashville hockey fans are mature enough to handle a rebuild at this point. But the thing about Nashville is there are so many different ways you can spend your money. There are concerts to go to and restaurants to enjoy. And there are so many things you can do with your disposable income. And I wonder if the Predators organization is concerned that if they signal to their fans, we're not going to be competing for a while, that revenue will plummet, that tickets will be easier to come by and merchandise sales will go down. I do think that's part of their calculus, that they're unsure if their fans will still support them the way they have been. If they say, look, we're not making the playoffs for a few years. We'll put some young players on the ice. You can watch them grow, but don't count on the playoffs. I'm not sure that's something that the organization thinks their fans can handle.
Okay. Adam Vingan joins. What about the blue line for the Preds? Is anybody there you think available?
I don't think so. I mean, Roman Josi has a no movement clause. I don't think Brady Shea is going anywhere. The one player who maybe could be traded, but you're not going to really get much in return from him, is Nick Blankenberg, who's a solid depth defenseman, but not someone who moves the needle necessarily. The moves that they would make would be pretty much concentrated on the forward group.
Yeah. Okay, and that makes sense. Now the Preds had went on a real big run here, and they were I think they had the third most points in the NHL in the Western Conference, and had gained ground. Did their organization with these moves by McCarron and Smith just feel like, you know what, that was a great run, but it wasn't sustainable the rest of the way? We couldn't push it over the finish line.
Yeah, that's probably true. As I said, they started the post-Olympic break schedule by losing 3 of 4. They beat Chicago on the first night back. They blew a 2-0 lead in Dallas and lost in overtime. They lost in regulation at home to Detroit on Monday and last night in Columbus. So 3 consecutive losses, 3 of 4 losses. If you go back to before the break, 10 losses out of 14 games, 4-6-4 in their past 14. So they just seem to run out of steam. And I think they realize that the math is going to be difficult for them. They started play today 5 points out of the final wild card spot in the Western Conference behind Seattle. So, and Seattle plays tonight, so that lead could grow. So yeah. I just think Barry Trotz realized that we gave it our best shot, but the math is working against us.
Okay. Probably the right decision to go from. So lastly, you see Dickinson a lot. He's rumbling maybe to come to Edmonton. Where do you see Dickinson as a third line center or a fourth line center?
That's a good question, and certainly probably a better question for someone who watches the Blackhawks more closely on a daily basis. But in my experience watching Dickinson, I can't see why he couldn't do both. I've always liked his game. I don't think he would be out of place on the third line. He's probably more ideally a fourth liner, but a bottom 6 player certainly. But that would probably be a better question for someone who watches them more closely than I do, other than the 4 or 5 times they play the Blackhawks on a yearly basis.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I just I always like guys who see him in the division for many years to say, hey, what he is. I think Dickinson
for sure
probably can be a number 3. He's more of a defensive guy. He did have 2 30-point seasons before, so maybe in an expanded role, he could chip in a little bit more. We'll see. But what he can do is he's so good defensively. Like, no one plays their third line all the time against the other team's top line anymore. But it might say, hey, we can give him 2 shifts a period, 1 shift a period against those lines to free up McDavid or Draisaitl. That's kind of how I would see him being used.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment.
Well, Adam, we'll see. I agree with you. I think they should trade O'Reilly. We'll see if they do it. They got about 43 hours and change to decide.
Yes. Well, we will see. I'll be watching very closely.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you.
There you go. That's Adam Bingen joining us from Nashville. We'll return, Cam Tait and more on a busy Wednesday edition of the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 furnace install company for sailors because they know the value of a warm port. And they sing, there was a ship who fought the cold, who sailed the sea with a furnacey load. She brought the heat to YEG and her name was Legacy. Through icy wind and winter squall, her fire she burned for one and all with a comfort chugging guarantee, and her name was Legacy. No payments, no. Yep, no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. Don't trust just any ports in a winter storm. Trust Legacy Heating and Cooling.
A pizza from Papa John's is already pretty great, but you know what's even better? 2 pizzas from Papa John's. For a limited time, get a medium 1-topping pizza for only $6 when you order any large specialty pizza at regular menu price. Whether you're feeding your family, your team, or yourself, get your next meal from your locally owned and operated Papa John's with a $6 1-top medium when you order any large specialty at regular menu price. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
The Price is Right Live is coming to Canada, and the Brick is a proud sponsor. Come on down to the Brick to win big this Saturday, March 7th from noon to 2. Join us at the Brick South Edmonton Common for your chance to instantly win from over $25,000 in prizes, including Brick shopping sprees, TVs, Oilers tickets, and so much more. No purchase necessary. Some conditions apply. See in-store for contest details and exclusions. So come on down to the Brick South Edmonton Common this Saturday.
Do you listen to sports radio at work? Like right now? Well, do you?
Who, me? No way. I swear.
Okay, friend, we won't tell. Tens of thousands of sports fans listen to Sports 1440 each and every day. On the radio, on the listening apps, on YouTube, and on social media. If you listen to Sports 1440 at work, well, maybe it's time to advertise on Sports 1440 at work. Grow your business, get your name out there. Shoot our ad team an email, gregor@sports1440.ca. Let's get to work for you.
Welcome to Uncommon. Welcome to Subaru. Engineered for Canadian winters, built for real-life confidence. Tackle the ice and snow with Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive, delivering the power, control, stability, and grit you need. And when the temperature plummets, you'll cruise in comfort with heated seats and heated steering wheel. All this plus peace of mind with Subaru's top safety pick status for 19 years running. This winter, it's time to get you into a Subaru. Visit Subaru.ca today.
In like a lion or like a lamb, out like a goat. That's greatest offer of all time with Sherwood Honda. While there's plenty of goats on the lot, you can also custom order yours. Pick your Honda model with the color, interior, trim, and technology for the ride you've always wanted. Sherwood Honda can help you build and price your new Honda to make it the greatest order of all time. Pre-ordering sure would be simple and satisfying with help from Sherwood Honda.
A claims program for harmed Canadians has begun as a result of a landmark tobacco settlement. If you smoked regularly before November 20th, 1998, and were diagnosed with lung cancer, throat cancer, emphysema, or COPD, you may qualify for a significant payment. To learn more, call 888-482-5852 or go to tobaccoclaimscanada.ca.
Expand your brand with Fusion Promo Marketing. Fusion is your trusted partner for all things branded merch and apparel. Thousands of products perfect for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. Fusion with a Z. Promomarketing.ca.
Being a living organ donor is a noble, life-changing act. But there's more than one way to be a hero. Join the Living Donor Circle of Excellence. As an employer, you can give the gift of time and remove financial barriers to make employee donations easier. You'll earn recognition, a raised corporate profile, employee satisfaction, and of course, be a huge part in saving lives in desperate need. Support the sacrifice of living donors. Discover how to join the Living Donor Circle of Excellence program today at kidney.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork, made in Canada, made for Canada, where extreme isn't theoretical. Find your solution at cantork.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Well, Oiler fans, every day now, when you're in a playoff race and a division race, out-of-town scoreboard, and early on, good results for the Oilers. The Detroit Red Wings leading the Golden Knights 3-1 in the first 16 minutes of the game. Alex DeBrincat just buried his 32nd of the season. Golden Knights getting outshot 11-4. And this is the game in hand that Vegas has on the Oilers. So they lose tonight in regulation. Then they each have 20 games left, and they're separated by 2 points, and they play each other 3 times in the final 20 games. Giddy up. Should be a good race. Not to mention the Anaheim Ducks are lurking right in between with 69 points, and they have 2 games in hand on both teams. So could be a great race. Even Seattle is 1 point back of the Oilers, and they have 2 games in hand. So should be a fun race in the Pacific Division. If you want to see all of the scenarios, check out my article today at OilersNation.com. It has the your comprehensive guide to the playoff race in the Pacific Division. Now, let's get to the 2-minute warning with Cam Tait, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home of the no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Stay warm all winter at Legacy Heating. Here is Cam Tait.
Part 1 of a 10-part series entitled Steel and Spirit, the Milan Sledge Sessions. They call it a bucket, but it's so much more. It's a throne, a weapon, a machine built for speed and precision. In para-hockey, the bucket is where the magic begins. Carbon fiber, Kevlar, molded to the exact shape of the player's body. The exact shape. Every curve, every contour, designed for one purpose: control. A twitch of the hip becomes a sharp turn. A shift of weight sends the sledge slicing through the ice like a blade through silk. The rules are strict. The bucket must hug the torso, no wider than the player's armpits. The sledge itself? A sleek missile of engineering, between 0.6 meters and 1.2 meters long. Beneath it, the frame is calibrated to leave a puck gap of just 8.5 centimeters to 9.5 centimeters. Just enough for the biscuit to scream through at impossible angles. And the blades? Twin strips of tempered steel, razor sharp, set mere centimeters apart. Balancing on them is a feat of pure mastery. One wrong move and you're down. But when it's right, it's poetry in motion. The ice becomes a canvas, and the players paint with speed, power, and precision. As the 2026 Paralympics approach, this isn't just hockey. It's a revolution. The bucket isn't just a seat. It's a cockpit, a weapon, a portal to a new dimension of the game. For the next week and a half, we're going to have a look inside the Canadian para sledge hockey team as they aim for a gold medal in Milan. We'll preview the 3 round robin games, which start Saturday against Slovakia. We'll talk to the head coach, who made a name for himself in the Alberta Junior Hockey League. We'll tell you the 5-minute penalty in the Paralympics called teeing. So buckle up, my friend. Over the next 10 2-minute warning segments, you're going to meet a bucket list like none other. 2-minute warning. Gregor, Halley, Kruger, I think we should put him in a bucket every day. And me, Cam Tait, Sports 1440.
I look forward to that, Tater. I love it. Paralympics getting going. Can't wait, man. Really skilled athletes, very determined athletes involved in that. It is the Gregor Show, as always, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. We got a few quick texts. Hey, guys, I'd rather have O'Reilly, but Dickinson should help the penalty kill. Well, Jordan, if you're getting O'Reilly, he's going to cost you way more. Way more. I agree with you. He's the better player. There's no doubt in my mind. But the cost for O'Reilly is significant, and I heard Nashville isn't overly interested in wanting to retain salary, which makes it much harder to do. Because the orders right now, I know everyone's texting, Mangiapane's 3.6. No, he isn't. He's in the minors. He's 2.4 on the cap right now. When you're in the minors, you can bury 1.15. So the orders only have $200,000 in cap space, and Mangiapane's only a 2.5 cap hit right now. So that's why if he's involved in this trade and Dickinson's 4.25, even if you put Lazar on LTIR, it's not enough. They're going to have to retain unless you're moving a few different guys off of the main roster to make that deal happen. So we'll see where it goes. We'll follow it. Of course, we got wall-to-wall coverage tomorrow. Then we have the trade deadline day on Friday. So have yourselves a wonderful Wednesday night. On behalf of Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, Ritch Winter, and everybody else involved in the show today, I'm Jason Gregor. Have yourselves a great night. Let's get to the con man and a sports 1440 update brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC, where March Madness is here. No joke, no giveaways, no phony prizes. Just a good old-fashioned deal. You don't want to miss it. NorthgateGM.com.
The Sports 1440 update.
Busy day off the ice as reports are out there that the Edmonton Oilers and Chicago Blackhawks are exploring a trade that would involve sending forward Jason Dickinson to the Oilers. No confirmation on that yet. Some other reports have the Buffalo Sabres acquiring Colton Parayko from the St. Louis Blues for defenseman Radim Merkin and a first-round pick, while Elliot Friedman reporting that Utah and Calgary closing in on a deal for Mackenzie Weegar, waiting his approval. Some final deals: the Dallas Stars acquiring defenseman Tyler Myers from the Canucks for a second-round pick in 2027 and a fourth-rounder in 2029, with the Canucks retaining half of the salary, in the San Jose Sharks signing a 5-year extension with boardkeeper Sherwood, the cap hit of $5.75 million. On the ice, after 20 minutes, the Red Wings lead the Golden Knights 3-1, and the Leafs Devils tied at 1 apiece. Later tonight, Canucks host the Canes. Islanders taking on the Ducks, and you got the Blues leading the Kraken. In the association, Thunder lead the Knicks 44-33 in the second, and early in the first, Hornets up on the Celtics 20-13. Later tonight, Grizz host the Blazers. Hawks meet the Bucks, and the Pacers taking on the Clippers. In the AJ today, whose Camera coming back to beat Calgary 4-3 in a shootout, and one game in the PWHL this evening after 20 minutes, Seattle and Ottawa scoreless. That'll do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Coming up next, it's Fox Sports Radio all night long. Live local coverage resumes tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. with Kevin Carey. It's here on Sports 1440 and streaming on our YouTube channel, Sports 1440 AM. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.